What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here,
Rick Ginn here.
and welcome to the 7 Deals in 7 Days Challenge. And this is going to be basically a virtual live event, if you will. Basically, this is going to be if you were to go pay your guru $8,000 for one of those hibby jibby seminars. We sit down and we do a complete event on exactly 2024, how to actually become the best wholesaler ever. Guys, you have to understand 2024 is going to be the greatest year ever to get into wholesaling real estate. What we're going to do systematically today in the 7 Deals in 7 Days Challenge is show you systematically how you can get 7 wholesaling deals in the next 7 days. Now, for some wholesalers, maybe it's just getting your first deal in this week, right? How to get your first deal in 7 days, how to get your first deal this month, right? But for some of you guys who are action takers, 7 deals in 7 days, this is just a kickoff. This is the start of the year challenge that we want to start doing. And I think it's really going to kickstart people up. We're going to have challenges for you, homework at the end of this, and we're super excited for this. We're going to cut the fluff. I swear to you guys, if you did go out here and pay $7-8 grand for a seminar, right? Somewhere around $2,000-3,000, right? You paid all this money to go learn how to go actually out here and wholesale real estate. There's thousands of people going to be watching this. If thousands of people pay thousands of dollars, we're going to give you the same value, same content, and the same information because this is what you need to know. And after running a live event, finally, we know exactly how to do it, and we're doing it right here live for you. And so we're super excited. We want to do this live. We wanted to really take our time. This is not a regular live stream. This is a 2-day live event. So today and tomorrow for a decent, very long time outside of our regular live streams. We're going to go nuts, and we're just going to sit down and break down everything you need to know from A to Z about how to wholesale real estate, right? We talk about this on some of our live streams all the time, or just in general talking to sellers like, hey, I don't have 10, 12, 15 hours to go sit down and show you all of wholesaling real estate like right now, right? Yeah. I got 30 minutes, right? But guess what? We sat down today and tomorrow of exactly just sitting down everything you need to know to get started in 2024 for wholesaling houses. So we're excited. We're ready to go. We're pumped up. Let us know, guys, where you're coming from. I'm super excited for that and ready to hear what you guys are talking about, right? I got some people, Port St. Lucie, Florida. We got some people all over the country. We got we got a lot of Florida people here. We got Utah. Shout out to everyone out here watching this. We are excited, everyone around the entire country. We're pumped up, ready to go. And so this is going to be the 7 Deals in 7 Days Challenge. Now, we are live. We are ready to go. We are excited. We are pumped up to get you rich in wholesaling real estate, guys. Wholesaling real estate has completely changed my life, and it's completely changed your life, and we're ready to go. And so just really quick, a quick recap of who I am and who you are. My name is Zach Ginn.
My name is Rick Ginn.
And basically, let's kind of talk about our stories, who we are starting out really quick, and then let's kind of break it down and start this challenge. So who are you?
I'm Dad. So I took the traditional route, like a lot of you that are probably watching this, and I went to school. I didn't get good grades. I am a full ADHD child. I didn't know it till late in my life. I went on to college. I did my 5.5-year stint there, and I got a finance degree because I wanted to know about money. And then I went in the corporate world. I did sales for 12 years. I hated every minute of it. I didn't believe in what I sold. I didn't like the structure, and I was extremely limited at how much money I could make. So I waited 12 years to get to this point to find an avenue where I could be more free, express my ADHDism, I call it. And I stumbled across real estate investing, and I specifically found wholesaling by complete accident. Nobody on the internet. I went to a meeting. I found it. I said, that sounds like the most exciting thing in the world. That's amazing. And I didn't want to sell cars. I didn't want to sell houses. I knew I didn't want to be a realtor, so I limited that right off the bat. And I dove in. I did it while I had a full-time job. Not only did I have a full-time job, I had a big fat mortgage. I was way in over my head in debt, and I had 2 small children. And so I started doing it, and it took me about 8 to 9 months. I replaced my income with my wholesaling operation. To be honest with you, I was terrible when I started out. I had no idea what I was doing, and I failed a lot. And the only difference is I just stuck at it because my why, my belief was this was my way out so I could get freedom. And a lot of people are like, oh, Rick, you got so rich wholesaling. I'm here to tell you, I did it more for freedom of my life and my time. And then what happened is I got really good at it. I quit my job, one of the greatest days of my life, firing my boss. They begged me to stay, offered me promotions, threw a bunch of money at it, and I still walked because wholesaling was so attractive. And then what happened is, fast forward, I got to spend a ton of time with my kids. I got to go to every sporting event, and I just spent a ton of time with them. And I remember Zach saying to me once before, like, Dad, you're always around. I don't understand what you do. And he had always had a hard time explaining it to his friends and his parents. And it just led to a conversation. And honestly, I never made this guy do real estate, but I'm going to let him explain the story. But here's the key, guys, is if you really want to lead and make a change and a spark in your life and your families, you have to do it. Your boss isn't going to do it. Some company's not going to do it. It has to be you. I took a risk when I was 33 years old. I tried every avenue my parents gave me. It was a nightmare. It was what we call the matrix. And a lot of you are stuck in it. I took a leap of faith. I busted my butt. Failure was not an option because I was deep in a hole. And fast forward, I've been doing this 21 years now. And because I made that decision 21 years ago is why I'm standing in front of you, why this amazing human being's in front of the camera with you. And the best thing you do if you ever want to lead your family out of a matrix type lifestyle is you have to lead. You can't talk about it. We can talk till we turn blue. The world's full of talkers. We need doers. And the best way to do it is actually take action and do it. So don't tell your kids what you want to do, what you accomplish. Go do it. And then if you want them to break from the matrix and they see you can do it, it's a much easier path for them. So I'll let you kind of chime in.
Yeah. So basically, a quicker version of this is he started wholesaling real estate
2003.
2003.
Yeah,
So
24.
20 plus years ago. And he made a decent amount of money wholesaling houses. I mean, I would say not like a stupid amount, but like he made a good living on it, right?
A lot more than my corporate job.
A lot more than a corporate job, but nothing nuts, right? Like nothing crazy. And then basically I was a bag boy and I was stuck in my little matrix, right? And I never really got into real estate. I always said I was going to real estate, never really did anything with it. And then eventually I saw a check on his desk and I was like, whoa, what is that? I should make that. I'm making $8.25 an hour. It was $8 an hour now, $8.25 an hour because they changed minimum wage in Florida back then. And I decided to go into wholesaling real estate. And basically I asked you, what do I do? And you basically said, if you want to learn it hard enough, you'll go do it. And I was like, oh, so he's not going to help me. Great. So I went on YouTube and I searched wholesaling real estate, and every wholesaling real estate YouTube video in 2016, swear to you, look it up, were 4-minute videos.
Yep. There wasn't much.
Wholesaling, find a motivated seller. This is what a motivated seller is. Oh, you want to know actually what to say to the seller? Oh, please join the webinar below. And it was all sales. Like there's no one teaching anything good about wholesaling. Like there's no really information out there. And I said, okay, well, YouTube's not going to help me out. When your library, there's some real estate books that taught about wholesaling. And I found out the only thing I could do is bandit signs. It was an old school method. It was the only one in that book. And I basically said, okay, well, guess we got to do it. And that's what I did. Put bandit signs out myself outside my high school wrestling tournaments. Made $20,000 my first deal in high school at 17 years old. Eventually made $100K just kind of solo by myself in high school. Went to college. Learned how to cold call because I was in the dorm room and I wasn't really that good at. There's no bandit signs locally where I was at that I was doing well. Then I came back and you're like, wow, Zach's doing pretty well. Why don't we partner up? And basically that's when we exploded our business because he was doing old school marketing tactics. I was kind of doing this new cold calling thing. We mashed together. And he added direct mail in the business. I added cold calling together. Then I added some SMS and crazy things. And we went from making 6 figures kind of separately to 7 figures insanely, scaling up from there. And basically 7 years later, when I first started wholesaling, we make millions of dollars wholesaling real estate locally and virtually. Yeah, that's pretty much our story. I started YouTube 4 years ago, just showing, hey, I'm 19, I'm making $50,000 on a wholesaling deal. Look at me. and just kind of documented my journey, and eventually to the point now where I was like, hey, I was telling you, when I started out, no one taught wholesaling for free. I went on YouTube, I had no help.
It's a nightmare.
And I was thinking, like, what? It's unfair because I had a dad who's really good at wholesaling. He kind of showed me the way. Like, that's really bad. Like, that's unfair. Like, that sucks, right? Because, like, what if you're broke, right? You're living, let's say, like, I see this all the time because in bad areas, we wholesale, and like, there's slums, there's really rough project areas, right? What if you need to get out of that situation? I know wholesaling real estate is the only way. You got no money at all. You can produce 20 grand in a month legally, okay? And you can help your family on a bad situation, retirement, all these things. But the problem is the knowledge is hoarded like gold. And it's just like, it's behind these gurus and these $20,000 paywalls. And I was like, man, like, I want to help that out, because wholesaling really changed the trajectory of my life and your life. Why don't we just give our best stuff for free? And you said no. He said no.
So let me clarify this story. So first of all, I fully admit I have ADHD. And honestly, if you have it, it is a superpower in wholesaling. Outside of it's a little bit rough, but I actually did some marketing products, 2012, like early and type that. And honestly, they sold like wildfires, and everybody got mad at me because I made the products really cheap, well under $100. I did one at $47, well surpassed anything I did. But the problem is I would not commit to do like the coaching circuit because honestly, I had a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't like that everybody wanted 10 to 20 grand to kind of learn this basic thing. I go, it's so simple. So I wound up teaching him. You ever teach your kid something? It's not the easiest thing in the world because I was not going to put a golden spoon in his mouth. I made him do everything. I made him do the work. Mm-hmm. And what I did is when you teach other people, you learn a lot. When you teach your kids, you learn even more. And what I did is I simplified the wholesaling process. I got rid of all the fluff, all the complication, all the murky waters, and said, listen, it's real simple. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to find someone that needs to sell their house. I'm going to teach you how to talk to them, and you're going to write a contract and move forward. And that's it. And by teaching him, the light bulb went off. Honestly, if I just tried to teach him the camera by myself, I would probably be all over the place. He's really good at organizing my thoughts. He goes, Dad, you got so much great knowledge up in your head. And this is where we are. So I couldn't ask for a better business partner. Plus, we do wholesaling together, and we talk to you guys and teach you it for free.
Exactly. And so coming back to our point here, he went in like, why are you getting it all for free? And so I was like, well, because no one, basically I learned for free. I'm going to be kind of their dad, I'm going to be their Rick Ginn. And that's what we did. We started teaching wholesaling for free. And 4 years later on YouTube, we got a lot of people following us. And we have a free wholesaling course. It's called freewholesaling.com. We have over pretty much 250,000 people in it actively. So it is the largest wholesaling course in the country by far. And the cool part about that is it is the only course from A to Z, talking about marketing all the way to selling the deal, creative finance, everything, that is taught 100% for free. It costs no money at all. You can watch all the access, all the content, everything, stuff YouTube doesn't even allow me to post, like privacy policies, screen shares, me pulling government lists, all these things. And we have that, right? And to this day, we're still the only wholesalers to teach wholesaling for free. So that's who I am, it's who you are. And that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. So you kind of know a little bit about us now. And we're here to just show you how to wholesale real estate for free. So this is the 7 deals in 7 days challenge. We are excited to break this down for you guys and break it all down so you can be a successful wholesaler. So let's talk about this. Let's get into it and let's share. And so first and foremost, we got to talk about the newbies out here, right? Mm-hmm. What is wholesaling real estate? Wholesaling real estate is the process of writing up a contract to buy a piece of real estate. We are writing up a piece of paper to buy that piece of real estate, a house, property, whatever, and then we sell that contract. Let me clarify this. We are selling the contract, not the house, to a landlord, to a house flipper, or basically a cash buyer for a profit. So to make this a little easier, a little more simple, I find somebody who wants to sell their house. Let's say you want to sell your house for $100,000. Mm-hmm. I write up a piece of paper I agree to buy Rick Ginn's house for $100,000. You sign that. I will go find a landlord who, let's say, lives, in the same city, but he owns a rental property next door. I'm going to call the guy because I called the Zillow for rents or something. Like, hey, are you looking to buy more rentals? Yeah, of course I am. He's got a lot of money. He's a rich landlord. Well, do you want to buy the one next door? I'll give it to you for 110,000. What, really? On the market, I have to buy these things for 140. Of course I'll buy it. Okay, well, here is a little thing called an assignment of contract. I'm basically just selling this piece of paper. I have it for 100. I'm gonna give it to you for 110. You just pay me $10,000 for it. So just a $10,000 finder's fee for finding this deal that's way under discount that I'm gonna make a ton of money on. Deal. And then in 30 days, you close, you sign the assignment of contract, and you make $10,000 just as a finder's fee. And for every guru, shmuru, bluru, whatever you want to call it, that's a wholesale, like it's illegal. I don't care. Wholesaling real estate is legal in all 50 states. Let me make this very, very clear. In all 50 states in the United States of America, wholesaling real estate is legal. Some people, in Philadelphia, it's illegal. No. Philadelphia has an intent law. Arizona has these are all laws, but the act of wholesaling a house is completely legal. The only one's Illinois where you need a license. I'll fight anyone on this. Oh, in Oklahoma and Nebraska, that's a stupid law. It's actually about how you market the contract. And the act of wholesaling is still legal. We show you at wholesaling.com the legalities of everything. But just go through the course. I'll show you how to do it. But it's legal in all 50 states. Do not stress out. You can wholesale real estate and do it. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you look like. I don't care where in the world you live in. Got an internet connection and a will to do it, you'll do well. And so why should you listen to us, guys? Let's talk about this again. We've helped over 250,000 wholesalers learn wholesaling real estate and get their first deal to ones that make millions of dollars a year. We are the largest wholesaling educators in the world, I would say. I ain't no guru. But we've taught more wholesalers than any other person in the history of wholesaling real estate. It's pretty impressive. Why is that? Is it because we're just so cool and sexy and great? No. Honestly, it's just because we're free. We're really the only free people. And so I'm just being honest. Why do people use Google, not AOL? Because AOL cost money back then, and Google just said, hey, let's do it for free.
Yeah.
Easy, pretty simple process, right? And just for all my haters out here, I get plenty of haters. We got plenty of guru-fueled haters. If you don't believe us, let me just show you some proof, okay? Now, this is just from 2023, and this is basically the first quarter of 2023. I don't know what it was. These are people just publicly posting and thanking us for, hey, Zach, thank you so much. We got this deal. Appreciate it. You go to flipwork.com. It's all in there. But these are all people who individually have done deals from us.
Have we called any of them and say, please give me a testimonial, or try to trap a newbie in a corner, go, listen, you get this deal, you've got to rave about us. And I got to tell you, that was my experience when I worked with gurus. Like, you got to give us a testimonial. Now I'm like, I haven't even, I did a deal. I need to do more. And I'm here to tell you, all our testimonials they're free. They're organic, and people put them up there because they actually got help and they figured out how to do it. And so many times you guys see these testimonials that are just wild childs. So
exactly. And so we've helped a lot of people out. If you don't believe us, we even have videos where people will break down step by step what they did. So a lot of you guys will go back and be like, oh, those checks are fake or whatever, Photoshop. Well, I sat down and I asked these people, send me the HUDs and share exactly your entire story and what you did. So I'll even show you for free what the people individually did to get that deal. And some of these people are insane, right? We got 70 grand his first month, Daryl, 50 gains, $50,000 in 6 months, 30K in 2 months, 72 grand in 5 months, right? Look at this guy right here, $165,000 his first 6 months wholesaling real estate, guys. These people all giving it out step by step because they learned from me absolutely for free. Insane, right? I mean, we got $50,000 first deal, 101,000, right? It's just unbelievable the amount of people we've helped. And I can go on and on forever about this, right? We just show the proof, we show the checks here, but we help so many people out, and we're here to help you out with this. So we are here for the 7 deals in 7 days challenge. This challenge is focused on the wholesaler looking to make the most amount of money possible in 2024. That is it. We want to really kick you off in 2024 with the best plan and strategy possible for success in wholesaling real estate. Now, we are going to give you our personal promise here, all right? We will give you this promise, okay, me and Rick. You will walk away today and tomorrow with this entire challenge with a plan of action. I will give you a promise. We will not be giving you a guru pitch fest. At the end of this video, it's not like, okay, well, here it is for $4,000. Wait, slash it to $2,000. No, slash that to $500. You can join our program, or we'll show you this, and it's $3,000 every single month, and then you go on a boat and do it. No, okay. And yes, I will be completely transparent. We have Flip Plus, where obviously people can pay to get more of a one-on-one experience with us. But because of all the haters out there, we let everyone join that for free if you just send us a JV deal. The point of Flip Plus, and I'll be completely frank with you, is to promote people and actually get them to want to send us a JV deal every single year, because I want to do thousands of JV deals and do more deals than all the gurus combined. Love flexing on the haters. So Flip Plus is a great one, but like, guys, you can join it for free. You all have a path to learn from me for free. Send me some JV deals, right? But the point is, there's going to be no pitch at the end of this. This is just going to be an education and shown for you. I want you guys to understand this. Why? We're the only ones to have a live event and actually give the entire live event for free. We're still giving it out every week, portions of it. Why are we the only ones that give our live events out for free? Because at the end of our live events, people say hug us, they say thank you, and at the end of it, there's no pitch fest at the end. There's no, oh, here's that. No, it's just education and just give. And anyone went to a live event saying in the comments, like, we just give. Like, it's crazy. The people in there, they literally, some of them pay, but like a good more portion of them send us JV deals, and they just literally came there for free.
And there's a completely different atmosphere when you come to an event and you know you're not going to be pitched, and you know it's just raw content. It's like right there, because people are much more engaged. They're much more appreciative, and actually are much more productive. Because if you're going to sell something, you have to hype it up and over market it like everything else is wholesaling. So we do it completely opposite, just like we do freewholesaling.com. I've never been in an event where you don't have to worry about that. And you actually have to work. You have to apply the stuff, and you actually have to practice it. We role play, we write contracts. We go heavy on marketing. And honestly, it's been a dream of mine to do this for 20 plus years. And luckily this all came together and it works out wonderfully. So when you come to one of our events, which we do twice a year with Flip with Rick Plus, we just immerse. We started like basically at 7 a.m. And then like, I think we crashed at like 11 or 12 at night, and we just do it the next day. Want to grab a bite to eat? Let's grab it. I don't do all this fancy stuff. I just want to teach you wholesaling. Everything we do is about wholesaling. I never forget the first deal I did. And I replay it in my mind every day, because I know the feeling a lot of you are having. And what we're here is why we're doing this fest right now, is to just get you information so you can get started and get rolling.
Yeah. And so there's no pitch at the end of it. We're here to give it all for free, spend tens of thousands of dollars to throw these live events out for you. And people say, oh, wow, Zach spent tens of thousands of dollars, and I literally spent no money to come here. That's the point. That's what we do. And so let's kind of get into it. And let's break it down so you can learn exactly how to get rich wholesaling analysis. And so this is our promise to you. We're just going to educate here. There's no pitch at the end of this. We're ready to go. Now, you're going to get asked this. What's in it for us, right? Why is, I hate to say it, but everyone's used to getting scammed, right? I get it, okay? Now, if you haven't watched me for long enough, you know there's going to be no pitch at the end of this. But what's in it for us? Why is Rick and Zach giving this apps for free? I'll be completely honest with you. Money, okay? We were doing this for money. And, you know, a good portion of this is going to be for legacy, right? We want to be the person that helps people change their lives and everything. But we do a lot of this stuff because of money, right? Because honestly, I just not do this anymore, and I can just have freewholesaling.com and help people out. But we're doing it for money too. And what I mean by money, it's not taking money out of like getting credit cards out. It's just do more wholesaling deals, right? And so what I mean by this is we're not going to charge you a $7 a month program. We're going to give you a legacy and help the people out who have no money, no options to get into wholesaling real estate. We want to do over 1,000 wholesaling deals in 2024, hopefully 1,500 to 2,000. And the best way to do that is to educate people for free. You guys send me a JV deal at sellmypaper.com, and we make a ton of money. We are doing this for money to a point. And another reason is because when our influence grows by selling people out for free, right, by showing people how to wholesale for free, people know who I am. And it's not a guru type like, oh, ego thing. But when I have a JV deal and it's in like, let's say, Killeen, Texas, I can go on my Facebook group, which has hundreds of thousands of people, and say, hey, who's got buyers in Killeen? And they want to do a deal with me. And they were like, wow. And I'll get 50 messages and I'll get the deal sold. And so having an influence and doing this stuff, it's for free, obviously. But to grow my influence means I can make more money on my wholesaling side. And so this is basically a play for me to become the best wholesaler in the entire history of wholesaling, the Michael Jordan of wholesaling, right? Because if I'm able to do, God willing in the future, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 wholesaling deals in a year, hopefully I want to grow that out really well. I think I can by the time I'm, your age, right? In my 40s, in my 40s and 50s, that's a lot of stinking money, right? And at that point, there'll be no wholesaler that will do as many deals as me. And it was all because I helped people out. And Tony Robbins says this, and we love Tony Robbins. He does some guru stuff, but we love Tony. He always said this, and this is completely true in anything in life. And I want you guys to truly, truly understand this in your heart. The more you give, the more you receive. And you cannot maliciously do it, though. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going to give $10 to a homeless man tonight and expect to get $100 back. And actually, the karma, I don't know, I ain't going to get no foo-foo woo-woo stuff, but every time you give $10 to a homeless person, you usually make $100 of just something, right? Yeah. Something good happens in your life. And I'm not getting personal stuff, but like whenever I've done something good and I don't break it, I'm not a guru. This is what gurus do. They have $100 to a homeless man. Say, here you go, homeless man. Here's $100. And they put it on social media. Yeah. But what I mean by this is the more free stuff I give, and the guy that makes $165,000 in 6 months and changes his family life, that comes back to me. And I probably get $300,000 just in my net of just helping one person like that. And so why do I help you guys out and help people make tens of millions of dollars for free that you've never gotten without us? Because it's going to come back to us to make us more money, but we're not doing it for that. But we do know the more people we help, the more money we make. And so it's kind of worth our time to do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, the more people I can help by, just with the free wholesaling, freewholesaling.com, the Flip with Rick Plus, the more money you guys make, I can get you freedom of your time, get you financially free, and then you can give back to the community. And that's what it's all about. And when we talk about like giving, I'm all about anybody that helps anybody out. But for God's sakes, just give from your heart and don't film it. Like that's called advertising. That's not giving. You just give when no cameras around. Remember, if you ever want to find out what a man or a woman's made, see how they act when nobody else is around, because that's the true character of what people are. So me and Zach thrive on authenticity. This is who we are. I don't change. I don't give you a pitch. All I am is a doer. This is what I do, and this is how I do it. Wholesaling is simple. And because we are a wholesaling channel, all we do is focus on it. You will never hear us talk about things that are not related to wholesaling because there's zero benefit to you. We are an expert in this field. This is what we teach and nothing else. Other than like, we make fun of each other here and there, but that's about it. So it's up to you guys, man. I was in your exact same position 21 years ago. And I'm here to tell you, I stuck it out. I had some hard times, but I got through it. And once I mastered wholesaling, life got really, really easy because I now work with my mind. I stopped working with my hands and my labor. And if you're stuck in that position, you want to work out, we can help you dig out of that hole. But remember, you have to account for yourself. No one's going to bail you out. I had to learn this the hard way. No corporation's going to bail you out. Your parents are going to bail you out. It's only you. And once you realize that, you just got to find the tool to leverage your skills. And if wholesaling gravitates to you, obviously you're watching this channel, I think me and Zach are an excellent fit for you. But it's up to you. You guys always vote with your time and you vote with your money. That's most likely why you're here.
So let's break this all down and let's get it. And so, yes, if you do have a JV deal, send it to sellmypaper.com. I will let you know. So we're not pitching you anything. The one things we do tell you about is two things. It is number one, sellmypaper.com right here. If you have a JV deal, you want to send it to us. Heck, we want to do a $20,000 deal. We make 10. You make 10. We can 50-50 it. Sometimes we have other partners. We have to switch up the splits. Sometimes it's a 33% split. Sometimes 50-50. Depends where in the country you are and how difficult it is to JV your deal if we have to negotiate from there. But if you want some splits and we can make tens of thousands of dollars for us sending you a JV deal, that's why we do it. Like if you send me a JV deal and I have someone on my team do all the work for me, I don't really have to do much, and I can make 10 grand basically you sending a deal in a day. Yeah. Why would I charge you $5,000 for a one-on-one coaching call once a week? Like it's stupid, right? I ain't no guru. So do that. Also, if you don't have a JV deal to send me because you don't have any leads, you got to learn how to wholesale. Go to freewholesaling.com. It's right there. And I promise you, that is the best course to learn wholesale.
Hey, Zach, is there any cost with either one of these programs you just showed?
No money at all. And so let's break this down and let's get into it and share exactly how to become the best wholesaler possible. So welcome to the challenge. So this is what's in it for us. Now, let's kind of break down the wholesaling process from start to finish. I've kind of used this chart a lot. And this chart does change sometimes, but it's pretty much what wholesaling real estate is, right? Marketing, locking up the deal, finding the buyer, the walkthrough, and then closing it. This is basically a 30-day process. Marketing is going to be the process of us finding that distressed property with basically whatever we want. We can call sellers, we can text them, we can do whatever we want. Day 7 through 14, this is going to be locking up the deal, basically calling the seller up, signing the agreements, buying the house, and taking pictures of it. And then basically we find the buyer, we find that end buyer, that rich landlord, house flipper to buy the agreement for you for a profit. Then we're going to do a walkthrough on the deal, right? We're going to walk the buyer through the property to see if they actually like it. If they do, they sign that assignment of contract. Then closing day, we get our check and we make our money. This is the wholesaling process. We find a distressed property. We put the property under contract. We find that rich landlord or house flipper. They go check out the house. They sign the assignment, and then boom, we close. Wholesaling real estate. This is a 5-step process. Simple. Whenever guru is going to really complicate this, it's really simple. It's a 5-step process. Now, what I personally found wholesaling real estate is just 3 parts. Okay. Wholesaling real estate can be separated into 3 simple parts. And if I'm going too fast, let me know. I can always slow it down. We got a lot of ground to cover here because I want to help you as much as possible. Wholesaling real estate is just 3 parts. Number 1, finding people who want to sell their house for cash. Marketing, right? People who want to sell their property. Number 2, negotiating and writing up a contract for a certain price. This is negotiations, all this stuff. This is what we call acquisitions, right? And so this is the second part. So we find people who want to sell the property, and we write up a contract at a certain price. That's acquisitions. And the last part is selling that contract to a rich landlord or house flipper for a finder's fee, basically dispositions. 3 steps, right?
Simple.
Yeah. And so it's that simple to do in wholesaling real estate. The first 3 parts. Now, if you have any questions about this, let us know. But that's really the 3 parts of wholesaling houses. Now, let's kind of talk about the first part here. This is finding sellers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about this.
So there's 2 ways you can find a seller. And honestly, you have to start with step number 1. So you have to create what we call a marketing list. And that list is really, really simple. You need to get a list of prospects. So it's just a list. So nobody goes into wholesaling and just randomly starts knocking on doors. Listen, driving for dollars is probably the only exception. We'll go into that later in detail. But you need to create a list. How do I create that list? Simple. Don't overthink it. One of the easiest ways is what we do is we call pulling a government list. Why do you say government list? None of the gurus ever talk about this because they can't manipulate it to make a profit of it. The reason why I focus on government lists is rule number 1. This is how I made my first few deals. This is how I still make deals in 2024. Why? Because government list will point you in the direction of the most motivated sellers. And don't kid yourself. To get a great wholesale deal, you have to have some sort of motivation, either the house or the property, or in the perfect world, the seller needs to sell it real quick and the property's in really rough condition and you can move it. But either way, you have to have some sort of triggering event for them to even consider to take our offer. Why not? They'd put it on the market. So if you want to learn how to get all the list, and we'll go into deal, but we're going to help you out with today, is you can go to freewholesaling.com. I have everyone in grave detail in there. But I like government lists. Guys, wherever you see smoke, there's usually fire. Now, not every smoke plume is a fire. Sometimes it's like just a discharge from an old car or something like that. But let me ask you, if you were a firefighter, would you hunt and say nobody ever called and said there was a fire and you had a clear horizon? What would you look for? Would you look for the fire or the smoke? Mm-hmm. So you got to look for the smoke. The smoke are the government list. They work really, really well. Now, I'm here to tell you, just because they're free, don't kid yourself. You're going to have to earn these lists. What do I mean by that? You're going to get turned down a lot on these lists. Why? Because you're not the only person chasing them down. But if you have the fortitude, if you can overcome the resistance with persistence, you can get these leads. And I'm telling you guys, You have to deal with motivated sellers. One of the biggest challenges I see 21 years in doing wholesaling is the modern day wholesaler kind of forgot this, and they start chasing all these deals. And at some point, someone taught someone, just look for anybody selling a property. That's not wholesaling. It's not. You're going to drive yourself nuts by doing that. You've got to find motivated sellers. So the first act you have to do is you have to create a list. Now, one of the easiest ways, if you're like, Rick, I don't even know how to pull a list on any software, I'll give you the easiest way. Driving for dollars. Just hop in your car and go look for rough houses. They actually have courses on this. I don't know why. I'm going to give you a 1-minute crash course on it. Look for people that got high landscaping, boarded up windows, tarps on roof. The property looks like crap or it looks like vacant. Put it on your list and go out there and get it. That's the easiest way to start.
Wholesaling.com, we went in the car.
We have a whole video on
it. We went
it.
in the car. We're like, all right, let's give 30 minutes. Let's see what we do.
Yeah.
Just easy. Like it's just, so like everything we talk about again is that it's at wholesaling.com. But Zach, can you sit down and tell me what parts of driving for dollars and that we did a full video we put in wholesaling.com of literally me driving in a car showing you, okay, this house has this issue, this is why I chose it, right? We actually have tutorials on there too. Like it's FYI, but that's how we find deals, guys. It's marketing, it's finding motivated sellers. We also have to use the right marketing channels, right? We talk about the lists, and then we got to talk about the right marketing channels, the best way to actually reach out to these sellers, right? The way I look at wholesaling marketing wise is with lists and marketing channels, right? List is going to be the baked, and the channel is going to be the rod and reel. And we love fishing here, so we talk about fishing a lot here. If you hate fishing, go pay a guru 10 grand. I don't know what to tell you. But wholesaling and fishing is very similar, and we're pretty good at fishing. So that's why we're good at wholesaling, right? And the thing about bait and a rod and reel is you get the most premium $10,000 rod and reel, rod out there, the best Mac Daddy rod out there that'll never break or whatever. And if you have like a piece of cheese at the end of the hook, you ain't gonna catch them on. Okay, it ain't gonna happen. On vice versa, though, you can have the greatest bait of all time on the hook, and if you have a really bad rod, catch a marlin, the thing snaps in half, and you don't catch anything, right?
Yeah.
And so, a lot of you guys have this, right? You have the most best list possible, and then you have just a terrible marketing channel, and their scripts suck, and it doesn't work. And vice versa, you might have the perfect scripts, but your list is terrible, right? And so, it is better to have a decent list and a decent marketing channel than having a really good list and a bad marketing channel, right? If one's bad, it's not going to work. And so that's kind of what we talk about. But when they're both good, it's game over. And this is what we're here to talk about today, finding these sellers and getting these deals right now. Now, again, it's important to pull the right lists. And this is what we're talking about right now, pulling the right list, right? And when I look at lists, this is basically a data set of people that are more likely to sell the property at a discount. Now, remember, wholesaling real estate, we are trying to find people who want to sell their property for less than the thing is even worth.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. And why would people do that, Zach?
They want to do it because they just want to get rid of it, right? Everything of trading in your car, think of going to a used car dealership or pawn shop. They don't want to go clean up the car, fix up the check engine light, make it look nice, meet a guy behind a 7-Eleven at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, and he potentially hurts you, right? You don't want to deal with all that. For an extra $1,000, I'll just let the dealership make the money. I don't have to deal with it at all. And I don't the hassle and the stress of it.
So speed, convenience, and easy. And the one thing a lot of people overlook why people want to sell to a wholesaler, like people want their dignity and pride, but sometimes they sell some really challenging houses and they don't want to be judged because a lot of realtors, let's face it, oh my God, look at this house. How am I going to sell it? So speed, convenience, and most importantly, in my opinion, dignity. Because if you do what you say you're going to do and you help them solve their problem, and they don't want people constantly looking at their house, judging them, financing contingency. This is the reason people will sell you a house on a discount. And everybody watching this, you all either been in a house that's got issues or somebody in a house that has an issue. Guys, wholesaling does not stop with strangers. I've helped out friends. I've helped out families. Everybody is associated with real estate. So one of the techniques we teach you is just even start with your circle of influence. Once people know what you're doing, all of a sudden you start gravitating. Like, pick a color out. Like if you're looking for something red, you can't find it once you think about it, it's there. Same thing with wholesaling. Most of you haven't thought about it. You're just getting started. So once you get into it, you're going to notice everything. You're going to notice every house that's out of order. That's why you want to be a wholesaler and help people out of these situations.
Exactly. And so These are the three lists. So list you can get from the government, list you can actually pay a software for, and then list you can earn. So government lists are lists you get from the courthouse, you can get from any government source that we teach at wholesaling.com. These can be really anything, right? Code violations, water shutoffs, fire damaged properties, right? Heck, you knew the arrest records. Like these are so many lists that and there's probably, I think, 20, 25 different type of government lists. And they're pretty easy to pull if you know what you're doing. And we teach in wholesaling.com how to do this. You also use a paid list, basically using a software, which we show. And then there's earned lists, basically lists that you can actually go out here and earn yourself. Drawing for dollars. Heck, there is reverse drawing for dollars, door knocking, all these things that you just can't pay a software or get from the government. You actually have to earn it yourself. Those are really good too. And so those are the right lists to be pulling to actually find good wholesaling deals. Now, what are the top marketing channels? Now, there are a lot of marketing channels out here that we can use with the right list. Personally, these are going to be the 5 that I recommend probably the most out of all the other ones, right? This is going to be cold calling, basically calling sellers up, seeing if they want to sell the property. I promise you it's not as scary as you think, all right? There is SMS text blasting, just texting sellers out, oh, Zach, but the regulations and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to go pay a software. Now, I do highly recommend smszach.com for paying a software to do it, but you don't have to do that. You can use your personal cell phone. You can use a free service like googlevoice.com and actually text these sellers out. It's incredible what you can actually do. You can actually text these sellers out. You can do, heck, thousands every single month without paying a dime with no regulations. You can use whatever script you want. Now, I teach you should be using AI to help make different scripts. Every text should be different. AI really does a lot of the effort for you here. Digital bandit signs. Again, no wholesaler talks about this. There are some gurus that charge $3,000, $4,000 to learn how to do this, but Rick's been doing this for, I believe, 14 years. But you can put bandit signs out digitally online, basically letting people know that you're looking to buy some houses for cash on Craigslist, their Facebook groups, right? There's so many ways we can do this. And then we can just put bandit signs out, right? There's we buy ugly houses type signs. That's how I got my first 100K. Some markets really suck for it. Some aren't. Just know that FYI. And then one of our personal favorites, which is reverse drawing for dollar sticky notes. And what reverse drawing for dollar sticky notes are basically sticky notes. And we just write something like, hey, this is Zach. I had a quick question about your property. Please give me a call back. Now, I do that because it gets the most amount of people calling you back and contacting you back. And you get a lot of wholesaling deals by doing it. I promise you. It's insane. And you put the sticky notes on houses, people will call you back. It's like direct mail. And those are the top marketing channels I would say right now. Now, we didn't put direct mail in this because I don't think you guys should be, if you're a beginner, be spending money on direct mail. If you want, you can go to mailingmastery.com. We teach you how to do it, but I'm not the biggest direct mail fan for a beginner. Now, what I firstly found about marketing, marketing is always going to come down to some factors, but marketing is a volume and consistency game. The person that can market for the longest period of time consistently and not stop is going to help you out the most. And the one thing that I've always found with marketing, right, is it's like driving a car. You can't get from LA to New York City with 1 gallon of gas. And what I mean by that is you should have some decent expectations. And what I mean by that is a lot of you guys sometimes have a volume problem and you don't understand this. And what I mean by this is if you're in LA right now and you want to drive to New York City and you put 2 gallons of gas in your truck and you're stuck in the desert because you're like, how did I not get to New York City on 2 gallons of gas? Oh, I don't know, because you have 30 miles in the gallon and you went 60 miles and you ran out of gas. And a lot of guys will cry to me, Zach, how do I get to New York to LA with only 1 gallon of gas? It's like, what? Like, I guess you could walk if you really want to, right? There's going to be some gas you got to put in the car, and you have to refuel a couple times and consistently drive and do it. And some of you guys are like, how do I get to New York to LA in 2 hours? Just driving. It's like,
ain't gonna work.
And so you have to have some reasonable expectations. What I mean by this is if you want to get a wholesaling deal, right, one wholesaling deal, you should not expect to make 10 calls. You're probably going to have to make 300, 400, 500 calls to get some good leads and good sellers. The problem is a lot of you guys expect after the 5th call to make $50,000. I'd be a billionaire, okay, if I could do that, right? It's not possible, right? And so but I personally found there's a certain amount of leads, calls, texts, whatever you want that I'm going to show you right now that you have to do to actually get wholesaling deals done. And we're going to kind of share at the end a little more. It's going to be pretty exciting, but I want you to truly understand this fact that when you're doing wholesaling deals, you have to know exactly in wholesaling real estate how much you have to do for your marketing. Marketing is a super important factor. It's something that I highly recommend, and I don't think a lot of wholesalers truly can understand this the right way. So we should understand this too. You have to put some volume in here to get some deals done. It's really important. Now, this is going to be our kind of chart. Now, you can screenshot this if you want, do whatever you want to do, but this is a pretty important chart. We have found statistically with wholesalers, this is what it takes to get a wholesaling deal done. So let's kind of break it down.
So hold on. I got to get a drink.
Okay.
Sorry.
And so one deal is going to equal what we have found.
Okay, I got it. Sorry, guys. I got to clear my throat. So remember, this is just kind of an average. All real estate is local. So like, I'm just going to give you some generalities here. And remember, you are the determining factor of like how this is going to work. So let me pull it back up here and show it to you. We'll walk you through it. So if I'm going to do reverse driving for dollars, so that's basically when you put the sticky note on it. I like to use the yellow ones because it's the most common of them. And so the biggest question is like, Rick, how many do I have to do to get a deal? On average, you're going to have to apply at least 400 notes. It could be more, it could be less. I've done things where I've had people stick them on the doors 50, 60, and I've gotten a deal. But over time, the more you do it, the law of averages will typically work out. That would be 400. So can you go out and put 400 sticky notes on it? Anyone can do that. You got to go get the right list. To me, the best ones you can do, it's going to be code violations, pre-foreclosures. They're two of my favorite to go out there and do it because these are people that live in the homes. The second one is when we talk about a general contact list for a government list. These are the bigger, broader ranges on them. People are like, Rick, how many leads do I have to filter through before I get a lead? I'm going to tell you, this number is going to scare some of you, but it's the truth. And so many of you don't get the truth. You're going to have around 2,000 contacts just to get a contract. Why? Now, here's the really cool part. If you consistently do this on a month in, month out basis, these numbers start to compile because you get people in real estate, especially in wholesaling, it's all about timing. So the more contacts you make, the better. So if we're talking
about what a contact is.
Okay.
And so a lot of people think, oh, I just have to hold 2,000 government leads on a good deal. No, 2,000 contacts.
Contacts.
What I mean by that is if I call 100 people, on average, I'm probably going to reach to about a third of them. And so that means you're going to get 33 contacts. A contact is a hello. All right. And so this is really important because everyone says, oh, I called 10,000 people, but how many of those people picked up the phone?
Yeah.
And so there's a big difference because like if 5,000 people picked up the phone versus only 10 people picked up the phone, oh, I boasted 10,000. It's really important. It's like the gym. You know, a lot of people think, oh, I worked out for 2 hours today at the gym versus the guy that only worked out for 30 minutes, but he went crazy. And the guy at 2 hours just on his phone the whole day on the treadmill, right? It's not about how many hours you spend or how many calls you do. It's how much actual work got done. It's all about the quality of the work too. It's quality, it's volume times consistency. It's not about consistency, it's not about volume, it's volume times consistency. This is the really important. So contacts are hellos. People actually reach out to from texting, whatever you want. About 2,000 would equal a government, a deal from a government list.
Yeah, and keep in mind, guys, we're not paid by the hour. We're paid based on productivity. So the average person goes a corporate job 8 hours. They only work like two and a quarter hours, like the studies show. So just be efficient. It's not how many hours you work, it's how productive you are. So a lot of you go, I pulled a government list. I got 2,500 people. I didn't get anything. How many of those people did you actually contact? Let's do the math. You got to be honest with yourself. We got to get the truth to get results in wholesaling. The next one we talk about is a paid list. And a lot of people mess this one up. So on a paid list, this is one of the services you use like listrei.com. You pull it, super convenient. I love doing them this way. We like to use prop streaming, use batch. And then basically we pull. Now, I might have to get a list of 10,000. And how convenient that a lot of these services, you get up to 10,000 with your subscription. You're going to have to make 6,000 contacts. Why? These are the law of averages. Guys, I've been doing this a long time. Have the numbers ticked up? Yeah, but there's more people wholesaling. And with the advent of technology and multiple line dialers and stuff, you think it's going to go up, but it's all proportionate in the amount of work you do. Keep in mind, 6,000 is about the people you actually talk to. So if I had a list of 10,000 and maybe I connect with a third of them, that's going to be about 3,300, whatever it is. You got to keep going. So many of you guys are setting the bar so low, and you want to know why you're not hitting a deal. It's because you're manipulating the words you're using it. So when you talk to me and Zach, and we do one-on-ones all the time, we've been doing them for years, I say, how many, tell me what your plan is. I go, well, I have a list of 10,000. Of those 10,000, how many people did you reach out? Well, I've gotten like 200 of them. Dude, no wonder you haven't gotten the deal. You've got to make these numbers work. You're the person that has to push it through. So when you get a paid list, think about it. You have to go contact, so you have to shoot bigger. Remember, the two biggest cures in wholesaling are tons of leads, quality leads, and a ton of action. If you can do those two things, I can teach anybody wholesaling. But if you whine and cry and you manipulate how you're going to use the definition of stuff, I can't help you, because those are excuses. You can either make an excuse or you can take an action. You can't do both.
I agree. And so that's government list. So basically paid list, government list. And then the last one is if you want to pay for the marketing, right? You send some postcards out, right?
Yeah. So listen, I've been doing direct mail. I got into it early. Actually at the end of my first year in wholesaling, because somebody introduced it to me. It was brutally hard. I had no idea what I was doing. And honestly, it took me years to figure out. And I'm here to tell you today, in modern wholesaling area, I'm here to tell you, you've got to mail more. But the one plus you got to understand when you think about direct mail is these are inbound leads. Everyone's like, oh my God, it costs so much money. Nobody even reads the mail anymore. Guys, anyone who tells you direct mail doesn't work, it's just because they don't know how to work it themselves. You have to commit to 3 months minimum. I teach everybody that works with me that and Flip with Rick Plus on how to do this. I have a doctorate in this degree. I don't think very few people have mailed as much as I have. So on average, you are going to have to you're going to have a contact rate of basically 8,000. You have to send out 8,000 postcards. You're like, are you kidding me to get a deal? Listen, son, when you get better and you get skilled at it, the numbers go down. When I first did postcards, I was literally freaking out when I was sending out 400 and 500. Now, 10,000, no problem. Why? Because whatever investment I make in direct mail, once I have the skill sets, which we teach at freewholesaling.com, and I work with people at Flip with Rick Plus, if I spend $3,000 or $4,000 on postcards, I know I'm going to make a 3 to 5 times return minimum on average. So why do I say 3 months? Why? Because postcard, they're hit and miss, but over time leads build up. And once you develop a robust CRM, just a simple Podio, and you follow up on your task, remember, real estate's about timing. And once you do that, so say if you spent 8 or 9 grand on postcards, but you made 30. What if I told you could go to Vegas? I go, listen, if you spend 8 grand, you're going to get 30 grand back. Every one of you would take me up on that. That's all direct mail is. Most of you do it once, you quit, you freak out. And the biggest thing I have to teach people in direct mail is get over the expense. It's not an expense, it's an investment. But I don't want you starting out in direct mail. I always tell you, I need you to go out and find a deal. The best way is start with your free list, your government list, get a deal, get your first one under contract. And then people goes, what's the number to get started in direct mail? Get 5 deals under your belt, and I will show you how to blow up your real estate business. Why 5? I got to make sure you're going to cut it in wholesaling. And I'm talking to you. You actually have to do the work, because if you can't go out and get 1 deal and then get another 4, direct mail is not going to help you. Okay. So I want people to be successful. We teach you all on how to do it for free. Don't start out with direct mail, but that's something we use as a leverage to scale your business in wholesaling.
And so now we know how to find these deals. Now we got to learn. We can't go from LA to New York with 1 gallon of gas, right? We got to put some work in. What we want to do, if you want to do 7 deals, though, is you got to multiply that by 7. This is pretty important. So, okay, if I want 7 deals in 7 days, so what you got to do, right? Guys, you want to go from New York to LA in 7 days, you have to drive this much and you have to put this much gas in. This is what the numbers look like. No guru is going to tell you this stuff. So you want to do 2 deals this month, do 4,000 contacts, do 800 reverse transfer sticky notes, right? Just this is what the math statistically after 250,000 wholesalers we've helped. This is what it is, okay? And also, a lot of people, get this confused, but it's about having the right market too. And the real question here is, how do I pick a good market, right? Maybe you're in a good local market, but you have to learn a decent population and a decent median home price is going to be really important to see if you have a good wholesaling deal. What I've personally found, if other wholesalers are doing well, do it and don't reinvent the wheel. To find a good wholesaling real estate market, right, it really comes down to two factors. I have statistically found everywhere, okay? Two easy factors. If we can get the whiteboard here.
Okay.
Two simple, easy factors, all right? We're not going to complicate it. We're not going to make it crazier than it needs to be. Two simple factors. Let's switch.
Okay, go.
Let's switch real quick here. All right. Two simple factors. You can tell we're professional gurus at what we do. All right. So there's two simple factors. Forgive me. Terrible handwriting, all this stuff.
Make sure they can read it.
They'll read it fine. Okay. Two factors. If you want to find a good wholesaling real estate market, okay, we need a 100,000 population. Okay. We need one. If I look at a market, okay, so I look at let's say I look at the whole United States of America, right? So this is the whole United States, right? There's a market here, there's a market here, there's a market there. There's all markets everywhere, right? How do I figure out this market? Let's say this is where I live. How do I figure out if it's good or not? Does it have a 100,000 plus population for the county? Yes or no? So we'll do a little check mark, okay? Check, it does, okay? And then we got to look at the second thing. That's number one. And then number two is going to be the median home price. So what is the average home price on the property, right? And so all I have to do is, let's say we're doing Dallas, right? Dallas has a decent enough population. And what I'm going to do is just look up Dallas County space median home price Zillow. Heck, let's just do it right here. I'm going to look at Dallas County median home price Zillow. And what happens is Zillow's going to pop it up. And it's going to show us right here. I share my screen. What the median home price is. And boom, the median home price is $304,000. So we got to learn. So my criteria is the property should, hopefully the median home price should be below 400 to 500,000. 304, is that below 400,000? Yes, it is. So is the median home price below 400K? Check. That means it is a good market. Now, if I did San Francisco, let's kind of do this again. If we're in San Francisco, California, right? It's got the population. So let's do this one, San Francisco, right? It's got the population, but the average home price is like 900 grand. So no, it does not meet the criteria for a good wholesaling market. FYI. So that's pretty much how you figure out if a market is going to be decent or not in wholesaling real estate. Pretty simple, right? And so that's how we figure it out.
Guys, the bigger the population, the more robust your cash buyers are, the more demand for those homes in that area. And common sense. I mean, if you're at 95, it's not the end of the world, but like if you're at 22, it's most likely not going to work.
But we're even getting questions like this from Brandon. Brandon, I'll talk slower. How big the county should be? $100,000.
No, population.
Or more. 100,000 or more for the county. That is it. How big should the county? It should not be smaller than 100,000 in the county. Did I stutter? No, right? I'm like Stanley from The Office.
It doesn't matter the physical size.
It doesn't matter. It could be millions of. I don't care. Detroit, it's got 600,000 people in the city. It does. That's a great wholesaling market.
Yeah.
And there's markets where there's 120,000 people in the county, and I do really well there too. The two criteria. No guru ever tell you about this. That's how we do it. And so, what I want to do, that's just how we find the right market, right? And now, what I want to do here is kind of break down kind of the more important parts, right? When I think of marketing and actually the people watching this, what they need to do right now to get their first deal, I truly believe that there are a couple marketing channels you should be doing. And so what we're going to do is kind of break down exactly some key important parts that you guys probably want to talk about. And this is number one. I want to do a full breakdown on trying for dollars, reverse trying for dollars, because I feel like the majority of new wholesalers need to do this. And I want to show you exactly how to actually find sellers' phone numbers. Because I think those are the two biggest problems we have. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have Matt here. He's going to talk with us here on exactly how to do it so we kind of learn how to do this the right way. So, yeah, we're going to break it down. So I'll talk to Matt. I'll give you a little breather. I'll be right back.
Take-
I make a couple calls. I'll be right back.
Make a couple calls. We got to go from there. But that's what we're going to talk about right now. We're going to really share exactly how to do this and break it all down. So, we'll break it all down and we'll get it. So, got Matt here. What's up, Matt?
Hey, what's up, Zach? How we doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. So, we're here to talk about probably the biggest, probably the biggest way people starting out from watching our stuff get their first deal. And that is from Drawing for Dollars. And the majority of them use dmzach.com to drive for dollars and find the phone numbers, right? And so we're here for you to talk about exactly what you have found, because, I mean, you've helped a lot of wholesalers get their first deal drawing for dollars of exactly how you have done it, how people really with practically free skip tracing to the point, using 911 information basically on how to do it and get some wholesaling deals. And so let's talk about it.
Let's do it. And first of all, love to see that you guys are coming on here, giving away just a ridiculous amount of value on this thing. Even when you're playing musical chairs over there, you and Rick are a great team. So, happy 2024 to everybody. Really, really excited to kick this off and just make this the best year you've ever had when it comes to real estate, whether it be you doing your first deal here or, you doing your next 10 deals and beyond. So really excited to break this down for you guys. Just a little bit of background, why we have any, just context on why we have any, ability to talk about this at a credible level. I know on our end, again, Matt Camp over here with Deal Machine. I work on partnerships over here. You may have seen me on here with Zach and Rick before, but our mission is to give everyone the power of real estate investing using technology, and really proud to say that we're the highest rated, most reviewed app out there to go do this and to go find off market deals. And we've had literally over 10,000 deals done by our customers doing exactly what we're going to teach you today. So that's what we're going to break down getting into this. I mean, we've had hundreds of YouTube videos on our YouTube interviewing people talking about like, here's exactly step-by-step what they did to go do deals. And between this tech and the breakdown that we give you, whether you're using Deal Machine or not, and then just all the free knowledge you're getting through this challenge and through freewholesaling.com and everything that Zach and Rick do, you guys are set up for a killer year. So that's the goal today, is really to help you guys understand, where do you find those, amazing discounted deals, those motivated sellers, right? And so I'll break down some best practices. I'll do it step by step. And then just a quick little teaser. If you guys stay on this, the whole thing, by the end of this, we're going to be doing a massive giveaway on our end too. So Zach, do you want to tease anything on that right now?
Yeah, or do you at the end of today, we're going to give, first and foremost, this is a smaller one. We're just going to give away 50,000 skip traces, which is going to be pretty cool. I mean, I could probably give 1,000 skip traces to, people watching and just do a bunch of those. Yeah. But I think let's give out 50,000 skip traces for free for whoever wants this. We gave out 100,000 skip traces for 100,000 subscriber. And it's pretty exciting. So let's do 50,000 skip traces to one lucky person who's actually watching this live. You have to watch it on the Flip with Rick YouTube channel, though. And so we're going to look at the comments on there. And by the end of this, we'll give that out too. And then something else, right?
You know what, Zach? I'll say on one end, the 50,000 skip traces, we'll throw in with that an entire year of Deal Machine free. So you're getting all Deal Machine Pro for that. So we'll give you all that for that one. And then two, we'll do that one person live is going to get that. If you're watching the replay, because I know a lot of people are going to be watching these replays and all of that, by the end of this, we'll call it a week from now. We'll call it a week from now. If anybody follows through and actually follows up on our, if they're just going to try out Deal Machine and do a free trial and say like, hey, let me check this out and try to put not this knowledge into practice. We're going to go through everybody who started that out, who tried this out in the last week, and do one more giveaway for you guys too. So we'll double it, man. We'll put in another 50,000 skip traces with another year free Deal Machine for the replay people too, if that works.
A lot of people want that. A lot of people want those skip traces. So
let's do it.
We're excited.
Perfect, man. So we've got a couple awesome giveaways we're doing throughout this whole thing. To kind of start us off, I know you got into talking about like, hey, step one is finding motivated sellers, right? Zach, do you want to maybe talk just a little bit about, on the Driving for Dollars side? I've been tuning in as you guys have been walking through this, but is there anything in terms of your kind of like, Driving for Dollars story you wanted to share as I get into this and really talk through exactly how to do this?
Yeah. And so one thing I've always said, a lot of wholesalers and the majority of them watching this, they're getting their first deals from Driving for Dollars and reverse Driving for Dollars in these strategies. Because, we got a question here I thought was really interesting. He said, let's see, where is it? Let me try to pop it up. There's actually so many questions being asked, but let's see if I can find it here.
it was a really cool question about basically, is drawing for dollars even worth it anymore? Let's see if I can find it really quick. Oh, here it is. Roland said, does drawing for dollars work in today's age of so much tech? And I think this was a really great question because drawing for dollars with the more tech and how anyone can pull a high equity list now, drawing for dollars actually matters even more. And what I mean by that is when every wholesaler and their mom can go pull a list and get all these basically high equity leads and vacants and basically all this type of list, and you got hundreds of thousands of wholesalers who just click a button and get a list. When you actually put your eyes on the prize, actually go in the car, look for the house, and that is probably not on a specific listarea.com, dmzach.com, zachdata.com type list, right? None of these softwares can pull it, right? Heck, I love dmzach.com, the list pulling you got, but there's some deals that are just, they're $30,000 deal that if I pull the high equity, it's just not on there. And it's not because the data sucks. It's just because it's hidden, right? And the only way to find it is by putting your eyes on the ugly house and actually putting sticky note on the door or putting them on your list and cold calling them. Easy, simple as that. And so with all the tech, everyone thinks you can kind of hands off everything. But no, right? It's like people thinking, oh, we have the internet now. No one has to work a manual wage job anymore, right? No, people got to lay the wires for the internet and all this stuff, right? No, with the more tech, it's actually more important to kind of go old school with the strategies because every wholesaler is just pulling the same lists. And unfortunately, with dmzach.com, skip tracing is basically free now. So it kind of sucks even more. So yeah, it's actually more important to reverse try for dollars and try for dollars now.
Yep. Yeah. And I will say on the D4D side in general, I mean, I know, Zach, you talked about like, hey, you need a great list to go wholesale and you need a great marketing channel, right? And it's better to be doing, a good job of both rather than having one lack versus the other. When it comes to driving for dollars, like the reason is the best list out there is because it is your earned list. Like it is a list that only you have. You're finding those hidden deals. You're taking action and getting out there where when other people just won't put in that work, like you're going to stand out and go find those diamonds in the rough and land those deals that others aren't willing to put in the work to do. So you're going to find those sellers. You're going to find those motivated sellers, one, that are the most motivated in your market because they've got that rundown house. They've got a situation where they're dealing with a property, whether they don't want it anymore, they can't deal with it anymore, they can't list it. They've got like a major problem that you can bring a ton of value to the world by solving. And then secondly, like you're fine, and with that, like you're not a deal maker, you're a deal finder. You're finding people who want to sell the house that way. Secondly, you're finding people that are the least competitive leads out there because since they're hidden, they're not as easy to find. They're not ones that you have to go out and are going to show up on every list. Like it's not going to have a million people going after that property always. You're going to find those diamonds in the rough. So they're the best quality leads out there. The number one indicator of a motivated seller is the condition of the property, the physical condition. And then secondly, they're the least competitive leads out there because you're finding those properties that not everyone else is already talking to. So the goal when you're going through this, guys, just to begin with, I know Rick covered it briefly. Rick had mentioned like the front yard landscaping. That's a great one. You're looking for, again, like the tarp on the roof, the siding falling off, gutters in bad shape, broken boarded up windows, weeds growing through the concrete, window AC units, even things like that. I always use this example, and this is coming up actually here too. Our first hire got his first deal actually using Deal Machine, practicing what we preach when he was getting out there driving around and looking for houses and found it was like March and he found, Christmas lights up or, Halloween decorations up rather. So it's just like, okay, they're missing some major holidays. They don't care about the appearance of the property. There's just something off here. And being able to find those little things all the way through to the really drastic, clearly, the rundown house, right? All of that is going to be the number one indicator of finding motivated sellers. So look for that. I mean, and it can be as simple as literally, I know, Zach, you were going through the qualifications of what a good market looks like, right? It can be as simple as starting in your own backyard. Like, don't overthink it. If you fit those other parameters that Zach just went through, get out there and start driving. And whether it be you take different routes to work or driving around town or you're biking or you're running, like however you're getting out there and doing it, we're going to give you technology to be way more efficient and track those routes. But just being able to get out there and start, not put any more barriers in front of yourself, but just simply look for those signs, drive around, start building that list. I mean, you're putting yourself, you're leading with action. Like you're putting yourself in a great place to start this year. So
I agree. I'm excited.
Awesome. So I had this shared here with you guys. You want to pull this up here, Zach? I can. Is there anything else you want to cover before I jump into the software?
We can break this all down. We just got to be a little careful with.
Oh, lost you there, Zach. There we go.
Both of y'all in there. We got to be a little careful with the privacy policy here.
Cool.
And so, yeah. So FYI, dmzach.com, you click it, phone numbers do pop up, but I got to be careful because YouTube will shut this video down pretty quick. Always, I'm recording everything, so if they do that, we can be fine on it. But just FYI. But yeah, let's break it all down.
Yeah, perfect, man. So showing this off. Oh, can you hear me there, Zach? Here we go. We're getting there. Okay, perfect. You got me? Audio check. Sound good? Hopefully.
Yeah, you're all set. You're all set. I got to show your face on it, so you don't worry about
perfect. Oh, I got you. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So going into this right here, I'll break down again step by step exactly what to do this so you don't have to overthink it. First and foremost, I know Zach was talking through setting goals, right? On like and Rick as well. Of he's got so much experience of between mail and sticky notes and the reverse D4D and all these different strategies in terms of marketing channel. The one thing I can tell you on our end, because it is highly variant based on how good you are talking to sellers, you're going to get better over time. So it's going to take less leads the longer you do this, and the more you market to them, it means they're going to have a higher response rate, which means if you put 1,000 leads in your system and market them consistently over time, down the road you might get some answering to you as well, right? So these numbers kind of are all over the place in terms of really averaging how many leads it takes to get to a deal, and it's highly variant based on your market as well. But what I can tell you is just across the board, when you're looking at who succeeds with this long term, the number 100 is really the magic number. And that doesn't mean 100 leads will equal one deal. It doesn't mean like, and when I say lead, I mean address, I mean property added to your list that you're marketing to. It doesn't necessarily mean that 100 can get to that deal. We do have people all the time who we get these stories like Rick was talking about. We get these stories of, I've reached out to a few people and I did a deal, or I'm on my, my free trial with you guys and I did a deal. Like that does happen. We have those. You can find those on our YouTube channel. But what I'll tell you is that the number 100 is an awesome indicator of if somebody is serious with this strategy, building the right processes in place and starting to build momentum. It's like, talking about getting in the gym, like Zach said, getting in the gym, you start to build the right habits. You start to do this consistently over time. You start to say, oh yeah, I'm going to go in the morning and I'm going to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and what have you. Like you're thinking through, you're very intentional about this. That number 100, when you get intentional about getting to 100 rundown houses to start to reach out to, looking at the data, that is the place that people stick with this long term. That's really the turning point of where it starts to click for people. They start to have exciting conversations. They start to get leads. They might get a deal, they might not, but you're starting to really build momentum and snowball from here. So the first thing I do want to challenge you guys is as quickly as possible, when you can get to 100 rundown houses like that, 100 houses that need your help, like that is a great place to start. Using this tech, and again, if you do dmzach.com, that's just a free trial to try the stuff out. We made it a 7-day free trial also to coincide with the 7 days and 7 deals in 7 days challenge. So that way, if you want to try it out through these 7 days, awesome. We've got it all set up for you here. What you're looking at with my screen share is there's a desktop version that's right here. There's a mobile app as well. And it's incredibly simple. You open up the mobile app and, you'll have access to both. You drive around and, the mobile app is great for getting out in the field and driving for dollars, getting out there, and it's going to lock onto your location. You're going to drive down the street, and you'll notice right here, as you drive down the street, I've got the map pulled up right here. And, again, for privacy policy, that's why I'm on the screen like this. So that way, we cover up anything we need to. But as I'm driving down the street right here, I've got Sydney Street in St. Louis. You'll notice I've got all these black dots around me. All these black dots, those are all individual properties. Those are all properties that as I'm driving down the street, I'm at the corner of McNair and Sydney in real life. On the app, it's right there for me. Cool. I click on any property right there. Awesome. It's going to pop up. Again, good job with the the screen share there. Works for the privacy policy there. Click on that. It's going to pull up that information, and simple as that, you're good to go. Like, don't overthink it. Click on that property, hit add lead, and move on to the next one. And so as you continue to build that list, as you continue to drive for dollars, you've got all these blue pins that'll start to pop up around you. That's just a visual representation on the map of all your list of leads, right? Every time I click on a property, it's going to go over here. I can hit add lead and it'll help me move on to the next one, help me pin that property and keep going. So as simple as that, you want to know right away, you've got the black dots around you, you've got the blue pins around you, and you've got this map that's going to move with you as you drive down the street in real life, or as you bike down the street or run down the street. So that's the map there. You can toggle over to satellite view. I know a lot of people like that just because, you know, it helps you really identify the properties in real life. It visually looks a little bit better to make it easy for you to use. But as you do this as well, you'll also notice, and this is under my box on there, but the route tracking that this is going to give you, this is an awesome feature to just help you, again, as you're driving for dollars, you want to know, like, hey, how do I be as efficient as possible? How do I, save as much time as possible and cover entire areas? If I know my market is a great market to drive for dollars and I want to get out there and add as many leads as quickly as possible, how do I just blanket entire neighborhoods, my entire city and county? Well, the route tracking feature will help you with that. The route tracking is, as I drive down the street, you're going to see a little tail pop up behind me, a little green tail. And you'll notice that the tail over time, let me move to 63109. I know that's an area that I've driven a bit here, and I've done some demos there as well. 63109 in St. Louis. You'll see some lines start to pop up as I zoom in on that for you guys. Here you go. So you've got these green lines popping up, right? These green lines are all routes that I've driven within the last 6 months. And at 6 months, you'll see, hey, that turns yellow. That's, between 6 months and 12 months. After 12 months, you'll see this little segment right here. It must have been a demo I did, since it's a small route, that turns red after a year. So you can just visually look at the map really quickly and easily, continue to add leads, continue to drive around, look for those rundown houses, click on the property, hit add lead right inside the app, really simple and easy. Boom, now it's a blue pin rather. But as you do this, you're going to see all these individual routes pop up around you to make it really easy to cover that area, to blanket entire communities, and know that I can really focus on specific geographical areas for farming like this. So that is one awesome place to start. Zach, I do want to get into just a little bit about the data on the property. How much do you want me to just talk about that, or how much do you want me to show? Just to make sure I cover the privacy policy.
I mean, you can show it. Just be careful with it. Obviously, if this ever gets taken down, I can always just show the recording of it. But yeah, no, you can show the data of it. Freewholesaling.com is the full thing.
Yes.
I just don't want this thing getting taken down. Obviously,
absolutely.
But you should be fine. Just you can pop out the phone numbers. It should cover it. So.
Okay,
we'll see how it goes.
There we go. We're learn on the fly here. Awesome. So, as we go through this again, every individual property that you add is, becomes a lead inside Deal Machine, right? So you've got your map at the top, you've got your leads tab, and you've got your mail tab. Again, the mobile version looks a lot like this, but squeeze down on your phone. And when you add those properties, when you click into that, what you're going to see is data start to pop up here. You're going to see things like, hey, here are data around the equity in the property, estimated equity percent. Here's mortgage information, in terms of the interest rate and, coming in and being able to really dig in here. You're going to see a lot of the data that's most important pop up right away, where it's just simple and easy to show immediately in terms of like property characteristics, things like square footage, year built, even individual things about the house will pop up right there. Land information like parcel, even parcel IDs, things like that, school districts, flood zones, all kinds of info there. Tax information, transaction history, all right there. And then even awesome kind of next level data. This is newer stuff we put in here is rehab and repair cost. It'll even come in here and say, well, hey, here's the average dollar per square foot it takes to repair a property in this area. Here's our general building condition code that we've got on this. And here's our, if we're going to add or multiply those together, the repair cost times the general condition code in, by the square footage, it's going to come out to a $62,000 rehab. It's very back of the napkin math, but at least give you some pretty good general information about what a rehab on this property could look like. So in terms of the property card data, that's all stuff that, again, when you're driving for dollars, you're looking for the physical condition of the property. But when you want to take it to the next level and dig in, especially on the dispo side that we're going to be getting to here, that property data can be super, super helpful. And probably the most relevant thing I will mention in addition to that would be these property tags right here too. When you click on a property, you'll see like, hey, is it high equity? Has it been recently sold? Is it free and clear? Is it, in foreclosure? It'll give you a lot of kind of initial call outs on the properties themselves as these property tags, that as you go through and start adding these properties, it'll make it really simple and easy to call out, oh, hey, here's another layer of distress. It's a foreclosure or a pre-foreclosure. Awesome. Like, it's helping me really identify what are those best leads in my system. So, route tracking, again, going to track your routes, going to add leads, going to drive around. Just simply click on those properties, hit, don't overthink it. Look for those signs of physical distress. And as you continue to get better and better at this, we have some next level features. Like, we have a tap to add mode right here where you can tap to add properties instead of, to make it kind of rapid fire adding, right? We've got things like viewing past routes to really, again, look at the map and figure out where have I been recently, where should I go next? And even things like, adding a driver, so you can add somebody in your account to drive with you or for you. So that way I've got Elliot right here be a driver. All I have to do is just add him into my Deal Machine account if you're on Pro, to go out there and team up and do this together. And, or if you hear the term bird dog, there you go. That's bird dogging inside the app for you too. So, Zach, is there anything on the D4D side? I want to cover virtual D4D as well, but is there anything I missed that you want to make sure I hit before we do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty important, especially when it comes out to the drawing for dollars. It's just, if there's any type of motivation with these sellers, this is what we're going after, right? And the reason why we're taking this time out for virtual drawing for dollars and drawing for dollars is it's the fastest way. And we're talking about, like, we can break down this chart really quick. I'm not going to kick it out, but like, you kind of look here, right? We look at this chart. Why am I pushing drawing for dollars and reverse drawing for dollars so much? It's because 2,000 versus 400. It's a big difference. 6,000 versus 400, 8,000 versus 400, right? There's a big difference. There's a huge difference between this. And why we're breaking this down so heavy here is because it's faster, it's more efficient, and I don't want you guys to get burned out by getting no deals when you have this opportunity right here. And heck, even if you're virtually wholesaling, the ability with dmzach.com out here to go find that ugly house virtual drawing for dollars, click it, the phone number just pops up and you call right there, gets you going. The reason why I feel like dmzach.com is perfect, why we kind of added this for the challenges, it's going to push you to eliminate all of your excuses. And what I mean by that is, and we're going to talk about it when we're going to give you your homework for today, is most people, the hardest part of just getting them to start is just getting in front, having the seller say hello, and then the phone's like this. That is the hardest part with most of the sellers. And the best cure for that is, oh, I gotta do this, just get tracing. Oh, it's hard to do it. All the excuses are eliminated with the software. Heck, you can use truepeoplesearch.com, cyber background check. You can use all of those. But like the ability to find that ugly house, put it in there, and just the phone number pops up instantly. Or while you're driving for hours, you can click the button and the phone number pops up while you're driving. That eliminates your excuse of why you're not getting out here and doing volume. Like I said, volume and consistency. This is going to be the fastest way to get your first wholesaling. And that's a free trial too. It'll help you guys out a lot.
Love it, guys. So what I'll go through, so if you're going to physically drive for dollars, that's what the playbook looks like. I'll show you the next level in terms of, I had a lot of people in the chat asking about virtual driving for dollars, be able to do it at, anytime, anywhere. And it's essentially like clicking for dollars at that point. You can do it on mobile or desktop as well. So I'll show you how to do that really simply and easily as well. And then we'll take it again to that next level. Okay, how do I get in front of these sellers? Well, reverse D for D. We've been talking about that today. I'll show you exactly step-by-step how to reverse D for D. And then finding seller phone numbers. I'll tackle that here for you guys too. So on the virtual D4D side, I know I have a lot of really good comments and questions in the chat and saying like, hey, I'm doing this virtually. Fantastic. We've got you covered. That's got a great place to go for that for you as well. To make it really simple and easy for you, essentially where you can start, you've got this little orange button on the left side here. And on the mobile version as well, you'll hit free drive. And then you've got a couple options. It'll say, you hit start driving for leads rather. And when you drive for leads, it'll give you free drive, which is driving around wherever, planned route, which we'll get to here in a minute. That's part of reverse D for D. And then virtual driving for dollars, which that virtual drive right here, you can do on mobile or desktop. And when you're bringing that up, you click on start driving, and simple as this, you click anywhere you like and in front of any property, hit start driving right there. And it's going to take virtual driving for dollars, import that directly into Deal Machine for you, Google Street Image right there for you. And just like you would in real life, you're driving around looking for that motivated seller. You're looking for signs of physical distress. And, this is awesome this time of year if you're in a market where it's, well, one, if you're in a market that Zach talked about is just, a San Francisco or somewhere that's not a great market for this, or it's too small, not 100,000 people. Hey, virtual driving for dollars, great option here. You can do this any time of day or night. If you got a day job that's just hard to get out there and do, something where you're driving around at, a daytime, like, hey, this is great. If you're in a market that's got a ton of snow, I know it's going to snow here eventually in St. Louis at some point. Hey, I won't miss those days. I got my virtual driving for dollars option. And just like you would in real life, it's still going to track your routes. You're still going to see like a little tail pop up behind you in that bottom left corner right there. But just like you would, hey, you're going to look at properties. You can look at them. You can see these signs of physical distress, right? You can see properties that have, you can see like there's a lot going on within these properties right here in terms of, rundown, again, all the signs we're talking about here, the overgrown grass, that's a great one. All of that's right there for you. And then that bottom right corner, you've got add lead. You hit add lead, and that's all you need to do. You've got, it makes it just very, very simple and easy, just like you would in real life, where you're driving around. It's going to pull up the information for you. You've got even, if you are physically driving for dollars, you do have kind of like an augmented reality option too, where you can actually point the phone at the property and hit add lead. It'll pop up right there for you. That's pretty cool. It's new as well, or newer. But the virtual option, as you click down the street, going to look very, very similar. Don't overthink it. Look at the property, clearly overgrown right here. Cool. Hit add lead. It's going to pin that house and just move on to the next one and keep going. So just like, again, this is something that I will mention. It's a numbers game. So it's all about consistency. It's about getting out there and building that list right away. It's the fastest way to build a list like that of physically distressed houses. I will mention the one pro tip on virtual D4D I get all the time is like, hey, yeah, I see that, this photo was taken in June 2022. Is that a reliable photo or not? Well, one, Google Street Image, in most places with 100,000 person population or more, like Zach's talking about, Google Street Image is very up to date in a lot of those places. So it's usually only going to be a year or two old typically. I will mention, even for the older ones, say this was taken, June of 2012, like a really old photo. Well, look at the condition of this property. Go in and let's see if we can see, we've got some transaction history right here. It was last sold in December of 2021. So I can see that really simply and easily right there inside Deal Machine as well. And knowing that it was December 2021 and this photo was taken in June of 2022, we know it's the same exact owner that purchased this property. It still looks like this. So, hey, could be still a really good lead. I'd highly recommend comparing that transaction history, that last sale date, to the condition of the property. And if it's still the same owner, even when it was a rundown house, even if it is an old photo, hey, I would consider that a good lead. Because it's still, that's still the person who owned it when it looked like that back then, means it's highly likely in somewhat similar condition. So I would say when you're virtual driving, add that to the mix, in terms of how you're evaluating those properties. But outside of that, don't overthink it. It's going to give you a route summary just like it would in real life. You can see I drove, 0.09 miles. I drove for 3 minutes. I added 2 leads. That's all right here on the right side behind me on the live stream right there. And you can see that's pulled up on the map right here, tracking your route. And there you go, man. So, Zach, do you have any other pro tips on the virtual driving side before we get to reverse D4D here?
Yeah, when you're virtually driving for dollars, the key here is if you see any motivation, you go from there. Mm-hmm. One thing I'll tell you is there's 2 ways you can do it too, which I do like. Number one, you can actually pull some government lists, and in dmzach.com, you can do this. I think it'll show it. You get like 100 code violations. You can pop it in Deal Machine and dmzach.com, and you can actually get a route of those, and you can actually see, oh, wow, are they really ugly or they're really not? Heck, you just put the government list in there, import it, and then you can just get the skip traces too. That's another good part you can do. Yeah. But really just making it simple. If there's some sort of motivation, just pop it on the list. Even if it's something slight, just do it all day, every day. When you're virtually driving for dollars and driving for dollars, I like to avoid bank-owned properties, obviously. Corporations, it depends, right? I like it if they at least owned it for at least 2 to 3 years because some ugly houses get bought from the bank or someone. But I don't really try to judge too much. If it's ugly, it goes on the list. Simple as that.
There we go. Yeah. So what I'll tell you, in terms of as you're building that list, like you just got to a great tip there in terms of like how to use government lists and all of that within the platform as well. Step one again is build a really, really high quality list. However you're getting, you guys went through earned list types. You said paid list types. You said government lists. Fantastic. We got you covered on the earn list side with physical driving for dollars, and then we've got you covered on the earn list side with the virtual driving for dollars. Now, reverse D for D. If you're out there and you're wanting to drive around, and again, that's just driving around, putting sticky notes on the door where you're saying, hey, I have a question about your property, give me a call. Here's the phone number, make it really simple and easy. Like, don't overthink that either. But if you're going to drive around and do reverse D for D, one, that's a strategy that has amazing response rates. Like, I know you were comparing that to direct mail before, Zach, but like, the reverse D for D, like putting a sticky note in somebody's door, people pay attention to that. Like, people are going to give you a call. We see our customers doing that, like they are getting phenomenal response rates from doing that strategy. The one thing is inside Deal Machine is if you want to do this as efficiently as possible and effectively as possible, like get the best leads as fast as possible, map the whole thing out. We have a planned route mode inside Deal Machine where you can actually go in, and you just talked about it, Zach, like put your government list in there. Put, you're already driving for dollars. Awesome. Put that sticky note on the door while you're doing it. Go in here and you get, on Deal Machine Starter, you get 10,000 leads. On Pro, you get 50,000. On Teams, you get 500,000. Like, go in there and take full advantage of that by importing lists into Deal Machine. Or you can even go in and pull a list inside the app to be able to drive that. And what planned route mode is when you hit start driving on the mobile app, it's going to say, hey, do you want to free drive? Again, that's just driving for dollars. Do you want a virtual drive, or is what we showed you? Or do you want to do a planned route where that planned route will say, hey, select a list that you have in Deal Machine, and it's going to give you turn-by-turn navigation to every single one of those properties as fast as humanly possible. Like, it'll map it out for you. So whether you're importing lists, whether you're already doing D for D, I'll show you guys here really quick. If you go, Zach, if you want to pull up the map here one more time for them again. Yeah. I think I can show this off for you guys. You were going through a couple of great paid lists in addition to this. So if you're inside Deal Machine, you do have a paid list option as well. Like, this is really the new Deal Machine where we've upgraded our map, and that you've got this search bar on the top. You've got this properties bar on the bottom where it says hit build list on this bottom right corner right here. That's something where if you want to go in and you can put in any kind of property criteria, like on the house itself, you can put in seller criteria on their motivations itself. If you want to come away with a paid list, in addition to your driving for dollars earned list, in addition to the government list that Rick's talking about, you can go in here and do things and just say like, hey, yeah, go in and show me. Let's see if I can pull up St. Louis City. St. Louis City Mo. It's going to outline the entire city. So I can just click on that to begin with. And then I can just start filtering out and say like, hey, yeah, show me all of the pre-foreclosed properties inside city limits right here. Awesome pre-foreclosures. That is whittling it down right now. It's in real time. 12 properties. Fantastic. I've got that right there. Build this confirm build. And then to reverse D for D that thing, you just hit drive this list inside the mobile app, and it's going to give you turn-by-turn navigation to go to all 12 of those right there. You've got that option for you. You can also go in and I want to make sure I give you guys as much value as possible. So a couple other quick lists that we see really, really great. You've got pre-foreclosure. Is another great one. This strategy. So if you go in and let's just do 63109, for example, I can go to my filters up top, click on more filters, type in tax delinquent and say, is it tax delinquent? Yes. Well, let's see. Oh, let me take off pre-foreclosures. There we go. We've got 390 properties that are tax delinquent in 63109. Hit build list, and then go reverse D for D that. Go in there and hit the planned route mode. It's going to give you turn-by-turn navigation to go to every single one of those properties. That's one example. Liens are another one. You can go in here and say like, hey, yeah, show me properties that, again, I clicked on the filters, and you can say, does it have an active lien? Click on yes, active lien. Now I'm down to, let's see here. We've got 1,172 properties inside these borders that have an active lien on it. fantastic. Hit build list. It takes literally 10 seconds to build that list, and then it's ready to go, ready to drive, ready for you to get out there and do that. And you can even get more targeted too. One last example here for you guys, Zach. You can do things like, hey, let me target like the downsizing cliff, the silver tsunami of people that are, getting ready to retire and maybe want to downsize their property. Well, I've got 63109 as an example. So I'll keep that pulled up. And you can go in here and say, well, hey, I'm going to look for property owners that are older. So, senior owned. So let's do contact age is greater than or equal to 65. And we have this demographic data you can tap into to be able to say like, hey, let me look at the owner age, so older age that owns the property. We'll call it free and clear. So that way, they've got 100% equity in it right here. And then we'll call it a living, a larger house. So we'll call it like square footage is bigger than living area square footage is bigger than 2,000. We'll call it that. And you can just start to layer in these things on top of each other where you've got older owner, free and clear property. They own the whole thing. They want to cash out. Living area is big. It's in this area. We've got 1,000 properties that fit that. Awesome. Pull that list, reverse D for D that list right there. Like you can get as minute and specific as that on the spot. You can get as broad as in just one area, or you can import a government list or go D for D. And you've got all these opportunities right here to take action right now today and get out there and reverse D for D for this stuff. So, Zach, is there anything on that side, like the paid list side, you wanted me to touch on? I know we're focused on D for D mostly here.
Yeah, I mean, DMstock.com's got plenty of great like paid list stuff too. But I would say the majority of the wholesalers right now, we should be focused on the drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars. Now you can just do the paid list. That's fine too. But I would say the majority of your success is going to come from drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars right now, unless you got the means to do it, right? I think cold calling and texting these type of leads are going to be the best one outside of the sticky notes. And just stick to that one. But once we get these leads, we've got to figure out how to get the phone numbers.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and the reason why I bring up the paid list as well is because that's kind of the gateway into reverse D for D, guys. Like to reverse drive for dollars as fast as possible. If you have a list, a government list, a paid list like that, and then you just hit again planned route mode, drive that list, it's going to give you turn-by-turn navigation to get to all of those. So you can go out there, and while you're reverse D for D'ing, like absolutely drive for dollars, and on top of that, like look for those rundown houses while you're out there driving around and putting sticky notes on the door. But to give you that best practices of what we see work over and over again, it's reverse D for D by driving a list, and also drive for dollars while you're out there, right? So awesome, cool. So what when we give you guys all that to start with, like Zach had talked about, that next step is, okay, now that I've got this, killer list of leads, really, really high quality, motivated list of leads, what do I do with them? Like, how do I actually reach out to them? How do I get contact info and, be able to call, text, email, reach out to them directly in a variety of ways? Well, like the data you need for that is already ready to go inside the machine. And that's something like, it's been awesome to announce this with you, Zach. I know this was something we recently really are trying to change the game in the industry. And, this is something I'm always curious on this. Put in the comments how much you're spending on skip tracing right now today. I would love to see that, see if anybody's out there and that we can really, really help. But the awesome thing with this is, Zach, again, you helped us announce this, but we're trying to kill skip tracing from that perspective. Like we want you to never have to pay for that again. We want you to get out there, and every single Deal Machine account, every single DMZach.com account, it comes with those contact info already preloaded, ready to go. So you don't have to get nickeled and dimed. We have people in here. Let's see. We've got people in here. Skip tracing, even the skip tracing, like 3 cents a skip trace, that can be, the cheapest that you probably can find out there that's quality at all. Like our goal is to give you guys nothing else to pay for.
Really about 10, 12 cents. If you're
there you go. 10, 12 cents. Awesome. There you go. So being able to get out there and have it ready to go and save you the time because it's in the app right there for you, and just click on there and literally nickel and dime. Thanks, Matthew. Love it. To be able to click on it and be able to see that number right there to take action on. Like think of it like you would with Amazon Prime having free shipping all the time. Well, for any member, Deal Machine member, you get free unlimited contact info to reach out to these folks. Or if you click on any property inside the app, you'll be able to pull that up, and I'll try not to show the actual numbers themselves there, Zach, but you can click on any property and see like, hey, yeah, here is the individual associated contact with that person. You've got the 2 phone numbers right here. You've got an email address right here. Just selecting any property on my list and be able to dig in and see like, yeah, here, it's owned by an LLC who's owned by this person, likely owner. You can see even things like likely resident who's renting that individual property, things, both of those in there. And you've got phone numbers and email addresses to dig into right away. And demographic information as well. I know I mentioned this earlier of like, if you want to look at, even things like, digging into who this person is, do they own a portfolio, things like, is it a senior owner, tired landlord, all that type of stuff. It's really kind of the ultimate cold call prep tool for you there, where you can go in and adjust your conversation because you know more about that individual when you start clicking into this data and get to know them virtually and ask even better questions than somebody who's coming in completely cold and blind in terms of who this person is. So anything that we do, that's our goal, is to just save you as much time as possible, give you the contact info right there, ready to go, not charge you any more for it, give you the best leads possible, through the Driving for Dollars, through Reverse D for D. And, in terms of the quality of it too, Zach, I do want to mention one thing really quick here, just because I get that question all the time, is like, hey, if this is free contact info, free skip tracing, like how good is the quality, right? One thing, we know on our end, like this is, bad data is going to cost you guys money, right? Like bad data is going to lead to mistakes. And so we spend a crazy amount on our end to be able to make this happen for people, where it is the same data that, 911 call centers are using, that, 90% of the caller ID in the US is using. Like a lot of the top banks, a lot of the top financial institutions, they're using this data. So it's something that we've upgraded our data, really try to make it as the best in the industry in terms of accuracy around all that. And, excited to kind of give away as many of these as possible too, man. So appreciate you bringing us on to be able to walk people through how to build that list, how to market to them, and just give them as much value as possible today through it.
Yeah, of course. And, the reason why we gave out all the wholesaling real estate information for free, still you used to have to pay 15, 16, 17 cents to skip trace. That's still bottleneck in this industry if you get some good leads and data. And so that's why I'm trying to, make DMZac.com basically the best way to get some free skip tracing if you want to get the skip trace. Now, there's other services you can always use too. But I'm telling you, for the beginners out here, the people watching this, you want to get 20, 30, 40, 50,000 skip traces done like this instantly, and it's super, super cheap. It's DMZac.com. It's calculating it. It'll cost like a third of a penny per thing. It's half. It's something crazy. It's an insane amount. And so basically you have it, the app, you just literally get the skip traces with it. And I think it's probably going to force a lot of people's hands to give out skip tracing for free, which ultimately helps the people in wholesaling out. So I'm here to help out DMZac.com because they're trying to help out the wholesaling community by forcing everyone else to give out wholesaling information and the data for free. So pretty excited about that.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. That's like you said, if you're on our starter plan, again, that's 10,000 leads that you get with that. So, if you're spending even 10 cents a skip trace, that's $1,000 in free value built into that right there for you. So we just want to give away as much as possible for you guys. I know on our end, in terms of the giveaways, there's 2 that I'll give you guys. One, for today, we're going through this. If you want to comment, Zach, is this cool if they comment, I want free skip tracing with DMZac.com? Is that the best way to do this giveaway?
That works. Yeah, just awesome. Put that.
There we go. So if you comment, I want free skip tracing with DMZac.com, you enter to today's giveaway. Everybody live on here, we're going to be giving away one of those to you guys as well. That's going to be 50,000 free skip traces, which is our pro plan. And we're going to be, so unlimited on pro is 50,000 leads. It's 50,000 free skip traces for you. A year of Deal Machine is going to come with that. So if you add up all that, that's over $5,000 in free value when you talk about the software and then what the skip traces could cost you. So that's going to be one winner. And then if you're watching the replay, because I know a lot of people are going to watch the replay a week from today. So we're going to go through on January 11th, and we're going to do that again. If you've started a free trial at DMZac.com between now and January 11th, we're going to go through and pick one of you guys randomly out of a hat and give away the same thing, 50,000 free skip traces. That's our pro plan with a year Deal Machine there. So yeah, man, we're excited to do this for you guys.
Awesome. Well, Matt, I really appreciate it, man. Pumped up for you helping the people out. And yeah, I'm pumped up, man. I really appreciate it. You just you let me know who's the winner. I'll let you decide. And you tell me who. So you choose the winner right now, and then we can go have the guy message you out. Because it'd be hard to get their information.
Yep. I want free skip tracing. Here we go. Here, let's give people a few minutes. You want me to message it to you directly in a few minutes here? Is that okay, Zach?
Yeah, sure. Go message me who it is, and we'll go from there, man. I'm excited.
Perfect, man. Love it. Keep it up, guys.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Boom. DMZach.com. Awesome stuff. Matt will check out, and he'll tell me which one's the winner, and then you just got to message him or reach out to him right there. But the point of why we talked about DMZach.com is because it's the best way for people to eliminate their excuses. And that's the one thing I hate about new wholesalers. They will have all these excuses why they can't do it. That's just the best way, the most money and time efficient way to get your first deal. I truly believe trying for dollars, reverse trying for dollars. But if you have other reasons, let's say you want to do some more virtual stuff, right? Even if you're virtual wholesaling and you get a bunch of leads and you got to skip trace them, you don't need to go through True People Search, cyber background checks. You can use other ones. Now, if you have no money, you don't want to spend for DMZach.com, you can always use two websites I love. Let me write them in the comments for you guys. One is called TruePeopleSearch.com. Let's put it right here. And so if you want to find someone's phone number, you have no money, there's a website. It's called TruePeopleSearch.com, which is a really good one. And the other one's called CyberBackgroundChecks.com. I love CyberBackgroundChecks.com too if you got no money. That's another really good one too. Let's go pop it up here. Let's go here. And then the other one is the cyberbackgroundchecks.com if you have no money. We're getting too many comments. People want they want their 50,000 skip traces for free. But the point is, if you want it, you just sign up for there and you can get it too. Now, let's talk about some other things really quick too. And you know, just we're talking about wholesaling on a consistent basis, right? And I want you to kind of have an understanding here of wholesalers, right? We have wholesaling is there's two wholesalers. There's two lines in here, okay? And so this is a pretty simple chart, right? People that get a deal and the people that get no deal. All right. These are the two wholesalers that we have, right? That watch this channel, right? Now, I want you to understand the matrix between these two. All right. And they all have one thing in common. Okay. Number one, let's do this here. All right. Excuses is, oh my goodness. How do I write this? I'm just gonna. So this is let's talk about the difference between a successful wholesaler and not. Number one, and we got to understand this. The wholesalers that get no deal, they're always going to make an excuse. Oh, I just don't have the right mentor. I don't have the. If you want to be rich and successful, you cannot let an excuse get in front of you. An excuse is just going to be a roadblock. So if you are running around here trying to get to your goal, which is money, all right, we're walking to that goal. If I have a roadblock right here called an excuse, oh, I have an accent. I have this. I'm tired. I have a kid. You're never going to get to this money goal. When you have no, and you know what an excuse is? I want you to understand this. It is a cloud. It is a fugazi. It's a fake thing. It is a mentally created thing in your mind of why you can't become successful, right? And so what you got to do is eliminate the excuse. I have no money. TruePeopleSearch.com. I got no money. You can go out here and pull a government list. Oh, I got no money. TruePeopleSearch.com. You can Google Maps and do this, right? Oh, I got no money. You can actually go out here, and this is shocking, do a virtual market if you're in the wrong market, pull code violations, let's say Lake County, Florida, True People Search, and start calling these people up with Google Voice. Oh, I have no internet. You go to the library. Like there's nothing should stop you from getting to that cash, that money, what we're actually destined to get, right? And I don't care what you want, but that's number one. Excuses are made. When you make no excuse, and here's the problem. Excuses for a good wholesaler, they don't have excuses, right? Excuses aren't even a word. They don't say the word excuse. They say this. They say problem. And I want you to understand this. Problems, okay? And so a broke wholesaler, a one that's not going to become successful, they're going to say excuses. I can't do this. And this is why I can't become successful. A successful wholesaler that gets deals, they have problems and they have solutions. I have no money. That's a problem. Well, the solution to that problem is to do a free marketing strategy, right? And the problem is most wholesalers don't understand this concept. If you can replace excuses with problems and solutions, it'll change your life the most. Number one, now the wholesalers that get a deal, they clearly just have one thing in common. They want it more. They want it more. And what I mean by that is, and then they want, oh, Lord, that's terrible handwriting. They want it less. And this is pretty simple stuff, but I think it's pretty important for us to understand this. When a wholesaler wants it more, they will beat their competition. They will get wholesaling deals. When they say, I don't care what it takes. I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how long I've been trying this. I don't care. I want it more than my competition. I'm actually going to go out here and get a property owner contract. I'm actually going to become successful. When you want it less, when, I don't like my job, but it's too much work. I'm too tired. You clearly don't hate your job enough. Some wholesalers have to be to the point where they are so broke that they're like, I am so sick of being broke. I have hunger pains in my heart and in my stomach of being sick of being broke, that they're like, okay, then I'm going to work even harder to get out of this hole. But until you're at that point, here's the truth. I love this story, and this is a story I use for a lot of beginner wholesalers, and sometimes y'all need a slap in the face. But there's this one wholesaler. He was scared to death to cold call. Scared to death to cold call, right? And we had a one-on-one call. Scared to death to cold call, right? He did not want to call someone. He was so worried. And I said, until you are more scared of being broke than being scared of cold calling, you'll never, ever become successful. And he always makes excuses, right? One time I said, cold call, talk to 7 sellers in the next 7 days, right? And he said, oh, I forgot to cold call. I was just so busy. I said, oh, you're busy. He was a bigger dude. I was like, well, were you too busy to eat dinner? No, I ate dinner. Oh, so you didn't forget to eat dinner, but you forgot a cold call. I just forgot a cold call today. I'm like, okay. Well, why did you not forget to eat dinner? He said, well, I don't forget to eat dinner because I get hungry. And I'm like, oh, so when you're hungry, it's a constant thought in your mind that you're hungry, right? And you're thirsty. He said, yeah. I'm like, here's your problem, bro. You are not so broke that you're not constantly reminded every single day that you are broke, and it hurts. And what I mean by that is just being broke. It's a consistent, it's a weight on you, right? That, oh, I can't pay for the bills. I can't do this. The AC's not working right. I can't afford this. And I'm driving a bad car, all these things. And it should be the same thing as a hunger pain. You should be hungry to become rich and successful. And it's constantly in your mind, 24/7. You want to get out of the situation, and you will do anything it takes to stop having that hunger pain, right? You'll eat and you're fine, right? You have to want it more until that pain, you start feeling it and you say, I'm sick of this. I'm going to make a change. And you don't forget. That's when you become successful. The broke wholesalers, they want it less. They say the big talk, oh, I'm going to get rich. They don't do it. That's the big change I've seen with you guys. And so I can tell you, you have to make a change. You have to be hungry. I'm telling you, you have to become successful. You have to become successful, and that's what you have to do. So let's answer some questions, and then we're going to have Rick back on. He's going to share the other part of what we're talking about today. But we got some questions here, and so let's break it down. Shout to Sheldon. Sheldon says, thank you for all the info. I'll get a burger. Oh, eat a burger. Appreciate that, man. Fit Next says, yo, Zach, I'm still trying to get my first deal. What is your guys' thoughts on working on market deals? I'm not a big on market deal guy. I swear to you, I'm not an on market deal person. I found off market to be way better for wholesaling real estate. That's my personal opinion. I found on market to be worse. Dealing with agents, it's a hassle. Sellers are way better. You make more per deal. On market, I'm not a big wholesaling fan for on market properties. I've never really have been one. So I would be careful there. Let's see here. All right. So we have a giveaway winner. We've had over hundreds of contacts. So that's pretty cool. So I want to give a shout out. We'll answer some more questions, but really quick, our giveaway winner is going to be, let's see if I can find this guy. Let's see here. Where are we at here? There's too many comments, unfortunately. Our winner here is going to be Chris Potivent. Shout out to him. He won 1 year DMZach.com for free and 50,000 skip traces. So that's pretty cool. It's awesome. Awesome. Shout out to Chris, the man out here. He's the winner here. So shout out to him. He's cool. He's good to go. Copied all the comments and then did it from there. So shout out to Chris there. Love to see it. We got another comment here. Let's see here. Brandon said, I've seen a guru make a video preaching on market. Guys, I don't care what your broke guru got to say about on market. I don't care. I think it's so stupid, right? Oh, yeah, on market's way better, bro. No, it's not. Okay. The majority of wholesalers that are making millions and millions of dollars do it off market. You know why? Because there's more of it. I see one guy saying, why go after off market when you go on market when most wholesalers, most sellers all have their deal. Most properties get sold on the market. Yeah, most properties are sold on the market, but the majority of discounted properties that you can actually make a big assignment fee on, a ton of money on, are actually done off market. So yes, 95% of all deals being sold are through the MLS on market, the realtor, but 80 to 90% of all the discounted deals at a deep, deep discount where you can make $20, $30, $40, $50,000, 80, 90% of them are all off market. So go after that. I don't care what a guru is telling you because they're trying to take money from you. That's how it always works out. Shout out to Edwin, my first deal, working on 3 deals. Awesome. Gannis asked here, what are the qualifications to JV with you guys? Honestly, just send a deal. If it's not a deal from our underwriting department, we will tell you it's not a deal and just let you know and just, hey, sorry, it's not a deal. Majority of what we find, if we cannot make a fat assignment fee on it, which if I'm not going to be able to make at least $5,000 on it, it's probably not a good JV deal for us to do. That's our qualifications. Simple as that. Now, you are not going to be the guy, I locked it up for way too high, but Rick and Zach are so awesome that they're just going to find a way. It's not that magical, okay? We have the buyers, but we're not going to send bad deals out to them and ruin our buyers list, okay? So it's got to be a good, decent deal. Majority, if it's a for sale by owner, we're having a lot of these issues. If your FSBO is locked up if it's listed for $100,000 and you lock it up for $99,000, I showed all my people. I said, don't allow that deal. We're not dispoing that deal. That's a stupid deal. It's got to be somewhere at deep discounts, right? If it's listed for 100, I don't care what you found the hidden value is. The market is clearly showing it's not worth that price. And so, yeah, I don't like on market. We'll do on markets, but we're not a big fan of them. So yeah, that's honestly what we have found. Galaxola says, how hard is it to find an actual buyer? How do I find buyers that are actually motivated to buy the property? Well, that's kind of what we're going to talk about that on day 2. We still got a lot more to cover today, but we're day 2. We're really going to break that down. So we're excited about that. Caleb says, got a JV deal from someone hitting me up on a YouTube comment. Caleb. So shout out to Caleb. He's made hundreds of thousands of dollars. Caleb and Ryan, shout out to Caleb and Ryan. They've been on our podcast, learning from us absolutely for free. So they're pretty cool people. But here's a really powerful part of why you should. Caleb's like a attendee to this virtual event. He's networking. And because he lets himself be known out there, he'll probably make 15, 20 grand on a JV deal by just letting people know that he is in Grand Rapids. He's still in Grand Rapids, I believe. We got to do another podcast and really see how he's doing. But yeah, literally just letting people know who you are. It's shocking, but you'll get guys. If you clearly went on most of my live streams and you actually let people know who you were and you had buyers, you could easily make 50 to 100K in 2024. No problem at all. Just on my YouTube comments. Because I make millions of dollars with the JVs. And so you can make at least 100K doing it, right? Not that hard. You just got to do the work. I'm telling you guys. Easy and simple as that. Let's see here. Michael says, you mentioned choosing a market with a median ARV under 400 grand. What's the reason for that? Don't you get bigger spreads between $400,000 and $600,000 median ARVs? Yes, you are correct. But you have to understand this. There is a law of large numbers. And what I mean by that is, yes, if let's say this worked, right? I would only go to San Francisco. I'll lock up deals for $10 million, then sell them for $12 million and make $2 million a deal and do 3,000 of those a year, right? That's of course, right? But there is a problem with that, right? And it's just the law of large numbers. And human beings are really weird. When you could start creeping up to the $7, $8, $9, $1 million, $900,000, $1 million ARVs, you have a problem here. And the majority of these problems are sellers are not willing to take a discount. That's the problem. And so we'll go on the whiteboard here and show you really quick. But like, you got to look at this. It's all a business, right? And so if I have a $900,000 house, a cash buyer, let's say, is going to want at most, let's be conservative here. Let's do an 80% of ARV minus repairs. Right? Usually it's going to be a little more for this. But so that means they're going to want to buy that deal for, let's say, let's do the math here. I don't want to be too stupid in front of y'all. Let's do 900 times 0.8, 720, right? That means at minimum, they want to buy it for 7 or below. Or if I had a $90,000 deal, right? I would be at 72K. Now, or below. This is an $18,000 reduction. This is a $180,000 reduction. What you have to understand here human beings are weird. Human beings don't look at a percent basis. They don't look at literally the number. And so people are more likely to take an $18,000 reduction than a $180,000 reduction. I'm telling you, it doesn't happen like that. And the majority of people owning this are less likely to want to sell for a discount. They're less likely to make a property distressed and get rid of it for cash. That's just statistically how it works. You don't have a $900,000 house because you're stupid. You're stupid with doing bad stuff, like getting arrested, not paying your bills and things like that, because you got equity you can pull out of the home. Hard to do it from there. And it's actually easier to flip these houses. If I'm a house flipper, I am a person looking to flip a house and make a profit. It is easier for me to sell this deal because I have FHA buyers, I have conventional buyers. There's just a huge pool of people looking to buy property for $90,000. That's a really cheap piece of property, and it's just more affordable. It's more attractive to the vast majority. Remember, the average person makes $50,000 a year in the United States of America. They are most likely wanting to buy this deal, which means I have more demand, which I can make more profit flipping the deal on a percent basis. The amount of people willing to pay $900,000 for a property is going to be a lot less, and they're going to demand a lot more. And so you got to understand this. There's more profit in the lower ARV properties to flip than the higher one. There's also a lot worse that can happen, especially recessions, situations like that. But most sellers, they are more likely to take this. Most sellers are willing to take an $18K reduction versus a $181. They just can't get over that $180,000 reduction. That's the main issue here. And so yes, bigger spreads, you will make probably $100K on this deal, and you'll only probably make $15K on this deal. But you will probably be able to do 20 and 30 of these deals when it only does one of these. And so yes, if I can do 30 deals and making 15K a deal, that's going to be for something. That's going to be $450,000 I can make in a year, right? Versus me doing two $50,000 deals. That's $100K. Would you rather be the guy making $450,000 or $100,000? The problem is there's just way less of these opportunities than these. And so if you want to do a numbers game, doing both of these markets, you'll make more going after the cheaper properties, making $450K than $100K. There's also more of these houses than those houses. And so that's kind of a quick breakdown of why you want to go after cheaper real estate under $400,000. I'm just telling you, it's ridiculous. So yeah. And so what we're going to do is go to the next part here on here and kind of break down some more, but starting out on tangent here, but you have to understand this, that cheaper real estate is going to be better when it's under $400,000. Hopefully that makes sense. There's just, I love it. I've gone to Rick so many times, like, hey, why don't we try to wholesale $1.5, $2 million houses? It just doesn't happen. I don't know one person in the country that does properties over $3 million that just wholesales and can do a huge amount of volume. It's about how much deals you do and how much money per deal. And a majority of the time, you can't make it crazy. That's why when you look at like car makers, right? Of course, Toyota wants to be like, why don't we just sell 10 million cars and charge them $150,000 a piece for the car? There's less pool of people willing to pay 150 grand for a car, but everyone wants to pay 30 grand for a car. And so the sheer amount of volume, you're good to go and you can make a ton of money from this. And so that's kind of why I tell people to go below $450,000 on this. It's going to help you out the most on this. But yeah. And so next part here, I think the part where we got a lot of people asking questions for, right, is how to deal with contracts and all these. And people get really confused from this. And so this part, we're going to kind of break this down because I think a lot of people have a lot of questions about this. And so let's kind of break it all down here. So let's go pop this up. And shout out to everyone asking questions. We're going to answer some more questions here. Rick is back here. And so let's break it all down. So what we want to do is actually break down our contracts. Now, if you go to freewholesaling.com, you can actually go download our free contract where we'll show you exactly how to do it. And now, once you go to freewholesaling.com, you download a free contract, our contract is going to pop up here. And what we want to do is just a full breakdown of exactly how to fill out contracts for beginners, because I feel like that's the one part no one ever talks about. They're all paid for and all the stupid stuff. So let's kind of break down the contract part here. I don't want to get too nitty gritty on stuff here, but let's go here. And yeah, so we'll have Rick Ginn talk about this. And, let's talk about contracts. What is it? All these things and everything like that.
Okay. Hey, you see, he leaves me with the fun part. Okay, let me slide everything over. Awesome. Okay, so we're talking about contracts. So what I want to do is walk you through how to fill out a wholesale contract. And then the other part of it is an assignment contract. There's two separate pieces of paperwork. And once you understand it, that's great. Now, guys, I can't stress this enough. This is the mechanical part of wholesaling. So the value and the skill is always going to be in the marketing and building rapport and talking with your sellers. This, honestly, is mechanical. And I'm going to walk you through. And if you have never done a contract, by the time you're done watching this video, you will have all the tools to write a simple contract. Now, contract law in the United States is very clear. It's very simple. And don't let lawyers, don't let realtors, heck, don't let buyers, and definitely don't let sellers try to control you in this. It is very, very, very simple. Honestly, I remember the day I started out wholesaling, I don't know how the heck I'm ever going to write a contract. And to be honest, I think the first contract I wrote was like way too long. I didn't know what I was doing, and I had to have somebody help me fix it. So I'm going to save you that aggravation. So if you guys can bear through me, I am going to put up the contract on, let's see, let's add that to. So awesome. So first of all, we're going to go through the purchase and sales agreement. It's also known as a PSA. That's just an acronym. Don't get confused by it. I have a legal disclaimer on the top. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to give you legal advice. I'm definitely not going to give you accounting advice, but I have 21 years experience writing this. Now, people always say, Rick, why do I have to use your contract? You don't have to use my contract, but if you truly want to be a wholesaler, this contract, in my opinion, is the most powerful tool you can use. Why? Because you need to have certain terminology in your contract to make sure you're going to get a good wholesale deal. So first of all, I don't care what state you're in. What I'd like you to do is take this contract and give it to your title company first. And then if you have the privilege or you have a lawyer that will review you, they shouldn't charge you for it. Have them take a look at it. Now, I'm here to tell you, talk to lawyers almost on a daily basis. And lawyers will always complicate it, always find a way to put their niche in it. Guys, I've been doing this 21 years. I've never had a problem doing it. I've had hundreds of lawyers tell me, it's not valid. You can't do that. Absolutely wrong. In fact, 50% of lawyers are wrong every day in court. So lawyers will do what lawyers are going to do. I'm telling you, I've closed thousands and thousands of deals with this paperwork I'm going to show you right now. I have the proof in the pudding. This is not hearsay. This is not someone challenging it. I want you to understand that. So let's go through it. So real simple. Wait a minute. Okay. Let me bounce. I got to figure out how to. Nope. Nope. Okay. I got it. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see my screen here and it's scrolling through. So you are going to see, I want to make sure this is working real quick. Okay, perfect. So an assignment of contract. So guys, if you have questions, put them in there. And at the end, I'm going to answer I'll answer questions in between each of the two types of contracts. So we're on the purchase and sales agreement. So obviously the date, what are we doing this? We are on the 4th, right? So I'm going to see if I can type this thing in here. I prefer to use the other board, and that's what I thought I would do. So here's what we're going to do. Obviously, you're going to put the date here. You don't need an explanation of that. And then what you're going to do is put your seller's name in there. Here's a little cheat sheet. Go to your property appraiser site and just cut and paste whoever the legal owner is in there. And quite honestly, if there's multiple sellers in there, you're going to have to get each of their signatures. But this is where you want to cut and paste and put in the buyer. At this point, guys, it's easy and it's simple. Now, let me share a couple little tips with you. Before you do the purchase and sales agreement, you should already have your negotiations pretty much done. This is a mechanical part. So here's what I do. Once I strike an agreement with my seller, and a lot of times when I used to go out and visit them at their home, I said, Mr. Seller, I tell you what, it sounds like we have a deal. I'm very happy. If I can get your permission to go out to my car and just grab the paperwork so I can fill it out with you and put the information on this contract, would that be okay with you? You see, a lot of you guys sit right next to your sellers, and when you have this big briefcase or this big file, I used to do this in the beginning, and you freak your customers out. They don't know what's in there. They think you're just going to beat them up. So what I do is I take all distractions away. I take cell phones, I take contracts. And then what I do is I do a verbal negotiation. And once I get down to where they're in a happy place, I'm in a happy place, I ask for permission to go get the purchase and sales agreement. Now I came back in. Now, a lot of times you can go ahead and put in the seller and the buyer's name. Obviously, I'll leave the date blank till you get there. And then basically street address, city, legal description. A lot of people ask me about this. Once again, go to your property appraiser site and cut and paste. Now, for full disclaimer here, legal descriptions are not always correct at the property appraiser site. So if it's one of those long ones and you got a really old property, here's a trick that you want to do. Just write the cut and paste the parcel ID or write it on there. It is 100% legal. And most of them are between 9 and like 15 digits, and it's very clear in black and white. That will suffice. Sometimes if you get a property that's really, really old, like 100 years plus, the legal description can be a paragraph. And you can cut and paste it, but it won't even fit in the spaces most likely. So just use the parcel ID number, and that will identify that parcel and that property. And you want to put that in there. So I'm not going to fill in all this stuff because honestly, it's much more cumbersome in the computer, but we are going to fill in these numbers right here. So let's purchase and sales agreement here. So the first part is we are hopping down is what is your total deposit? Now, I want to talk about deposits here because you all get hung up on this. And if you have a question, stick it in now because you know what? Let's just answer it while we're going through this. Anybody got any deposit questions? I'm going to give you the ideal case scenario as a wholesaler, the perfect world. Understanding that perfect world is in your own little comfort environment. When you go meet with a seller, your perfect world is going to get rocked a little bit, especially in the beginning. So when you're new at wholesaling and you go, Rick and Zach told me to leave $100 deposit and your seller freaks out, understand you have left the perfect world. This is the reality. So we have to prepare you to talk about the deposits. This is one of the biggest hangups I see. So also they say on here, Is the deposit EMD? Yes, it is. EMD is an acronym for earnest money deposit. So let's talk about what deposits while we're on this. In the perfect world, you put a $100 deposit. When I started wholesaling, I did $10 deposits, and I used to give them a cash $10 bill. Don't do that anymore. Now, in the perfect world, $100 would be ideal. Honestly, I don't want most of you going over $500 because a lot of times you actually have to fund this money. You can't completely. A lot of people say, I do wholesaling for little to no money. This is the part where it's the little money. So if you had to fund 100 or 500, this is where it's come. Most of you, 90% of you are going to fit between the 100 and the 500. So let me role play and give you a little bit of a scenario on this. So yes, this is earnest money deposit. So when we do this, you put we're going to leave $100 deposit and I'm writing the contract with them. So when I do this, I hop in here. I would put $100. Okay. I'm typing on the computer. I'd much rather write it with a pen, but I didn't do that today. So if you had a $100,000 price, say the house was for $100,000. That means cash due at closing is what? It's just a math problem, guys. $99,900. That's it. Don't ask me to line all this stuff up because it is not my expertise. So I like to handwrite these things. It's much easier. But here's where you guys get in trouble when you do the deposits. So say you go and put that $100 and your seller goes, $100? Are you crazy? And a lot of you, like I used to get this white look on my face, like, oh my God. And I'm here to tell you, it's not an objection. It's just a lack of education and information. So guys, put in the comments, who is that deposit going to? Is it going to the seller? Is it going to like some fairyland? Is it going to the title company? Is it going to attorney? When you write your deposit, where does it go to? Somebody put it in the comments because I want to teach you how to do this. It's important because when you know where the deposit's going, you can easily overcome this objection. Okay, perfect. So I have it on here. Christian says title company. That is correct. So if the money's not going to the seller and it's going to wait till the deal gets funded and close it, the seller rarely never gets any money. So disputing the deposit is ridiculous. Think about this. I'm here to tell you, if you're buying from a motivated seller, they will rarely dispute the deposit for you. You know who disputes the deposits? Realtors, unmotivated sellers, complete tire kickers, time wasters. If I'm going to get your deal funded in a short amount of time, why do we get hung up in the deposit? What happens is people go to realtor world. In the realtor world, you've got to leave a 3% earnest money deposit or 5%, 10%. Talk to a million realtors, you're going to get 1,000 different answers. I get it. So here's what I do. They go, $100, that's nuts. I can't tie this property up for $100. Listen, Mr. Seller, that money is actually going to sit in the earnest money deposit account at the title company. And because we're paying cash for your house, we're going to close it relatively quickly. So what I want to do is focus on getting you that whole $100,000. The deposit is just a formality to get the ball rolling for you. And I mean, if you want, I can do a little bit more, but I want to focus on getting your deal done. We are not going to fund you just on the deposit alone. They're like, well, could you do 5,000? Now, here's what I'll do. I get $100. Why don't we just go ahead and make it $300 or $500? And that's it. You just got to move past it. Remember, you don't negotiate a deposit. They're not getting it. And the reality is you're going to have a property under contract with an inspection period. It's kind of pointless if you really think about it. So if you understand it and you understand the philosophy of the deposit, it should not be a sticking point. Here is my only exception to this rule. If someone gives you an amazing deal, I don't care if you're brand new or you're seasoned, and they're giving you a property 40, 50 cents on the dollar, and you've confirmed it's a good deal, figure it out. If they want a $5,000 deposit and you're getting ready to make a $50,000 payday and you're like, you have this thing cat in the bag, or maybe you're going to JV with us on it, reach out to us and let's find a way to fund that deposit, because who cares? So if I had a deal, say I have it under contract for 100 grand and say it's worth 180 grand and it really needed no work, and they are stuck on $5,000, for God's sakes, find a way to give it to them. And so what you can do is write in there is the deposit will be funded within 3 to 5 business days after your inspection period. That gives you 2 weeks. That gives you basically 7 days to fund the deposit yourself. You can either float the money with you, a business partner, a JV partner, or here's a better idea. Why don't you have your cash buyer go ahead and fund that for you if you haven't built in? You see, if I left a $5,000, $10,000, or $50,000 deposit and I knew I was going to triple my money, then do it. I get it. You're brand new. It's a little bit scary. So the reality is that is the exception. There are very few deals like that. So you want to stay in that 100 to 500. And I'm going to show you later in the contract why that is so important you do that. So let me see here. How do I remove that? So perfect. Okay, let's keep moving through it. We got a lot to go through here. So the next part, we're on the contract. We are rolling down. And if we get down to the next important part, because honestly, I find the deposit, it's the wholesaler makes it a bigger deal because they don't understand it and they get scared and they don't know how to overcome it. Remember, I want to focus on funding your entire $100,000. The deposit is just a formality to go ahead and pull the title and get the file open. And the idea is to get your house bought and sold within 30 days. That's it. And then when they come back and then you let them out, the most I'm going to go to is $500 unless it's beyond a smoking deal. And the reality is most of you don't know what a smoking deal is until you get a little bit of experience on your belt. So do me a favor, try to stay in that $100 to $500 range. It's going to keep you out of trouble. The reason a lot of sellers are having you do that is because they're thinking like realtors. And honestly, you got to start asking yourself, do I have the right seller? Most of the sellers I deal with, motivated sellers, they really don't care about the deposit. In fact, my first 2 years of wholesaling, I never left more than $10. And half the time I didn't even leave the $10 because I didn't know what I was doing. So let's move forward. The next one you guys get hung up is on number 3 on the closing date. And this one, I'm going to give you perfect world. And then we're going to apply the reality of wholesaling every day, which I do, Zach does, and we understand this. So in the perfect world, I'm going to ask between 30 and 90-day close. Now, before we expand on that, I want you to understand this. If you look on that, the first thing, remember, this is a wholesale contract, very different than a realtor's contract. If you read this part right here, it says close on or before. Okay, you should be able to see. I think I highlighted it. Yeah, you can see that. It says close on or before, and then you put the date. So the minimum you want to put a closing date, especially as a newer wholesaler, don't go less than 30 days because it's going to be too stressful on you. I'm sorry, it's just the truth. The exception to this rule is when you have an amazing deal. Like it is like 50 cents on the dollar, the house needs nothing, let's move. That would be the exception. But I'm telling you, 30 days is tight for a new wholesaler. What I'd like you to do is do it for 90 days. So whatever the date is, I'm going to put 30 to 90. Now keep in mind, oops, I didn't put a dash in there, is you have the ability to close it sooner. If you put 90 days, sometimes sellers need time to move out. I look at it and I tell them, I go, listen, to help you out with this transaction, since I'm not moving in the house, I know you need a little extra time. So what I do is I'll go ahead and put it 3 months out. As soon as you're ready, give me a call and then we can get it done within 30 days. Simple as that. I like to put 90 days because the reality is they always need more time than they tell you. As much as we talk about wholesaling moves fast, the reality is most people need tons of time. Why? They got to figure out where they're going to move to. They got to get a moving truck. And I've dealt with sellers been in a house 30 and 40 years. It takes every bit of 90 days for them to get out of there. Now, if we're talking about probates, which you know how I feel about probates, I'm going to put it 6 months out or all the way into the end of the year. Why am I going to do that? Don't want to chase people down for extensions. It's exhausting and it obligates them to the contract. So remember, and when they go, well, 6 months, Rick, that's a super long. Katie, don't worry about it. You see this little clause? it says to close on or before. So as soon as you're ready and the judge signs the order to liquidate your property, we'll go ahead and move forward for you. Does that sound fair? That way, you know I'm willing, ready, and able to close on your deal. Guys, you have to communicate through these contracts because this is mechanical, but like when I do these contracts, I write it while I'm right next to the seller. If you pre-fill out everything, they get nervous. Keep in mind, this is only a 2-page contract. Simplicity is what does best in wholesaling. What realtors bring 15 to 23-page contracts, it overwhelms most people. Now, by the way, this contract will do the exact same thing as a realtor's approved contract. It's just, in my opinion, is much clearer. It's more direct, and sellers really enjoy that. Closing to be held at. This is where you're going to name your title company. I'm here to tell you, you and only you choose the title company. I don't care what your seller says. Well, the Tilefish title company, I bought the property through them, so I prefer to use them. No. You should at this point already met with your title company, have your closing procedures set up, make sure they're an investor-friendly company, and make sure they're 100% comfortable doing the assignment of contract. While we're talking about title companies, I'm here to tell you is the reason why you want to work with a title company that works with investors and very familiar with assignment of contracts. If I go back up, if we put the closing date on here, now, if you don't have a title company, I'll teach you a little trick. Just put TBD, and that simply stands for to be determined by you. So whenever you give up the rights to your title company, you are going to have problems. Trust me on this. 95% of the title companies out there are geared towards realtors, not to wholesalers or investors. So the reality is, if I put a closing date out and say, we're in the beginning of January 2024, and I put it, say I put it 2 months from now, so January, so maybe at the end of the beginning of March, what all title companies do that are associated with realtors, they go, okay, March 4th, okay, I'll put the file in the back of the file. They just assume your closing is the March 4th. I want to move it up as fast as I can. The only thing standing in the way is my seller. And you need to understand this because very clearly I go, listen, it says close by March, but I'm going to try to close it sooner. I want them pulling that title immediately. You need to let them know very clear. My title company is all trained. We can close any deal within 5 days as long as it doesn't have a complicated title issue. The average title company in the United States, they will take 3 to 4 weeks just to pull your title. This is why you have to hand pick your title company. Do not negotiate this. Whenever I've given up this, I've always had a problem. Not maybe, 99% of the time on an assignment contract, when I'm selling it via wholesale, if I don't use my title company, it's always, always difficult. So you've got to understand doing that. So that's number 3. You want to put in there, ideally, guys, 30 to 90 days. Now, the reality is sellers if they freak out when you put 90 days, just understand you can negotiate this part. Don't let your deal fall apart. By this time, you already have the price locked in. The question is, you're going to close it in 30, you're going to close it in 90 days. I like to take feedback from the seller. And if they haven't packed or done anything, they actually are relieved that you could take more time. What does that allow you to do? It allows you to find more cash buyers. You can usually get a higher price for it, and it's much more flexible. Remember, if you're a newer wholesaler, the last thing you want to do is be stressed out trying to find a cash buyer closing something in 2 weeks. So I can do it. People that have a lot of experience and a lot of capital can do it. But honestly, as a new wholesaler, I would have never tried to do anything in under 30 days. And honestly, 30 days always made me nervous. So ideally would be 45 to 90 days. 30 days is always tight. But as I said, we go out in the real world and we have to deal with what happens. So people always ask me this question, go, hey, Rick, what's my worst case scenario? I'm going to walk you through it right now. And remember, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to give you legal advice, but I do have 21 years experience. So I do know a thing or two about these contracts. The positive. Okay. Sorry, guys. A little technical glitch there. Okay. I'm back. So understand this. Okay. We cut out there. I'm not sure where I cut off. Let's just continue. So we have the closing date, and remember, you have to have marketable and free and clear title. So if you're dealing with a property that has a lot of problems, understanding until they clear that title, you're not obligated to close on it, and actually gives you the right to get out of the contract. But if you have a problem property, talk to your title company. Definitely talk to a real estate attorney, and you got to understand that going through. So, okay, we're back. Everybody hear me? I'm not sure exactly when I cut out, but
Keep looking, make sure you're not frozen.
okay, I got it.
Make sure you're not frozen. All right.
Okay. Let's keep moving through. So now we're going down to, we talked about worst case scenario on the property. If you don't close, remember, it's all tied into your deposit. I don't want you guys to you guys have to close on these properties. The reality is some contracts don't work out, but you have to understand what your worst case scenario is. Your worst case scenario is your deposit for liquidated damages. So the next one, we go down to, see number 7 there, it says access. A lot of times you will get pushback from some sellers on this. Guys, remember, these are the final terms of your agreement. Don't let this destroy a great wholesale deal. And this is where you got to learn to talk to your seller. So while you're writing it with them, remember, you don't write anything in this, but seller agrees buyer may advertise the property and show it during reasonable hours. Some sellers don't want you to do this. You've probably already discovered that in your underwriting process when you were qualifying them. Just be aware of it when you do that, because you have to understand that part. Sometimes they don't want to do it. It's no big deal. If they do that, just draw a line through it. And then I'll show you where you can make exceptions to this. So number 8, assignability. The root of all wholesale deals is it has to be assignable. Guys, the key distinction between us and what a realtor is, I got a lot of things I could fill in here. The reality is we are selling paper. We are selling a contract. We are selling the rights. Realtors sell the property. You've got to understand this key distinction. If anybody wants to take this out, number 1, do you have a motivated seller? Worst case scenario, if you have a big enough profit spread, you can do a double closing. We'll go into that at a later time, probably tomorrow. But I'm here to tell you is the assignability number 8 is non-negotiable. If you don't get this in effect, now you don't have to have them sign it. You don't have to highlight it. It's just in there. So if they say, well, Rick, what's this assignability clause? I simply say, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, we are entering a contract with you today. There's a lot of things going on here. It depends on how much repair I have to put in the property, how much work it's going to take. I also have to wait till you move out. Sometimes I close in other companies or in my partners, or sometimes I partner up with other construction people to help me bring it up to date. So the contract name I put on now, it might be a little different at closing, but we'll let you know which company it is. It's that simple. And here's how I look at it with sellers is, and I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of deals, is as long as they get their money, they don't care if Mickey Mouse closes on the property. The only people that ever throw a monkey wrench in this, honestly, are realtors. Why? Because they're trained in school. Assignability, wholesalers, it's the poison pill. Don't ever let them do that to you. It's ridiculous. Also, if you're a new wholesaler and you don't even have an LLC or anything, that's okay. Write it in your name. And then you can actually open up an LLC the day before or the day of your closing, and you can assign it to the LLC. It gives you options. Assignability gives everybody options. End of story. And you've got to understand that. So don't negotiate on this because it's going to be problematic for you. Now, if you negotiate on this, you better have a great deal and you're going to have to do a double closing. So let's move on to number 9, inspections. I love inspections. Listen, the reality of this is going to be the same thing as I talk about the closing date. The longer your inspection, the more options you have. So I mirror the exact same numbers that I do on the closing date. So I'm going to tell you between 30 and 90 days. Now, that's theory classroom stuff. I rarely get a 90-day inspection. I'm going to be honest here on a single family home. Commercial's a whole different ball of wax. So the reality is so a realtor's inspection is usually anywhere from 15 days to 3 days. That's realtor world. We're not in realtor world. I don't want you to be a realtor. Stop thinking like a realtor. We are dealing with a special client that needs to sell their property, and they're usually motivated. So they usually don't give me a lot of flack on this. So in the perfect world, if you could get 90 days, it would be amazing. The reality is very few are going to get 90 days. The more problematic the property is, and if it's vacant, you have a much greater chance of getting it. Now, if you're doing it virtually, give yourself more time, especially in a property that needs heavy rehab and it's vacant. And here's how I explain it. I have to get some qualified people in there to look at the house to figure out what I'm buying and then make sure everything you're telling me adds up. That simple. The worse the property is, the longer your inspection period will be. If you have a good, clean property, say you're doing it in your local market and it looks really good and everything's great, 30 days would be great. Now, a lot of you guys thinking like, well, what about 15 days? I go, I'm here to tell you 15 days is tight, guys. It is super tight, especially if you're a new wholesaler, because what if your 15th day, what if you write the contract on a Friday? And guys, we just went through this long holiday period, way too long. And then you've already lost 4 days. Now you're down to 11 days. And so if you read the rest of it, it says buyer shall be responsible for prompt payment for inspections. No, we don't do inspections on the property. Your inspections is what you walk through and what you walk your cash buyers through. We are not realtors. I don't hire home inspectors. My buyers don't hire home inspectors because they're cash buyers knowing what they're getting into. Stop thinking like a realtor. This is the part. If you want to be a wholesaler, you got to leave the realtor world. So on the bottom here, in buyer's sole discretion, they accept the property if it's good or not. Buyer may cancel this contract by delivering written notice to seller at expiration experience date. If buyer timely cancels the contract, the deposit shall be paid immediately returned to the buyer, thereupon the buyer. So if you cancel it, so here's the deal. Say you did 15 days. Hopefully it's an amazing deal. Maybe you had a long holiday week and you just lost 4 days. You start getting on the phone, a week goes by, 4 days, 7 days. That's 10, 11 days. Do not wait till day 15 to send an email, a certified piece of mail, whatever, how you're going to inform them. And you got to have it in some sort of writing manner, because title companies sometimes go, well, I don't know, I think you missed your date. Don't be that guy or gal that waits till the very last day to get out of a contract. Listen, if you can't find a cash buyer, it's not going to work out. Get out sooner than later. You owe it to your seller. And honestly, if you're getting out of the contract, you need to go back and look at how you're attacking wholesaling. Because in the last really 4 or 5 years, there's a lot of people out there teaching people to write tons of contracts. Oh, I'm not sharing it. Oh, okay. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me do the screen share. So you guys heard what I said. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen here and present, share screen. Okay. It's back up there. So I have it highlighted on there. For time's sake, you guys can read it. Do not wait till your last day to get out of a contract. It's just not going to help you out. So if you have a 30-day inspection, that if you can't find a cash buyer in 30 days, you've done everything you can. You need to move on. Honestly, if you contact 5 cash buyers in the first week and they all say you're crazy, overpaid for it, either renegotiate that contract or get out sooner than later. You have an obligation to the seller. Somewhere in the last 4 or 5 years, people are teaching wholesaling and they want you to like put everything under contract and shake it out later. That is not wholesaling, guys. That is pure speculation. And I don't teach that. Zach doesn't teach it. I didn't teach him that way. And you have to understand that. So let's move on. Now, if you had additional terms under number 10, what would you put in here? If you offered to pay closing cost, I only use closing cost as a final negotiation. So many of you guys throw it out like right off the bat. Go, Mr. Seller, if I could pay for the closing cost, can we move forward with this deal today? Meaning, can I go ahead and get your okay on the signature? Remember, I always want to exchange with people. I don't give stuff away for free. Everything has to be give and take when you do negotiations. Remember, you already have the price locked down. You're just negotiating the final part of it. Don't let a deal get lost over closing costs, because guess what? Who pays the closing costs, guys? Who? Who pays the closing costs in a wholesale deal? That's right. Your cash buyer does. In fact, if you get your seller to pay for closing costs, so sometimes on tight deals we do it, you can ask more from your cash buyer because they have to come up with less money at the closing. And that is extremely, extremely powerful. Let's keep getting through this because I want to get through the assignment contract as well. And so if you're going to add anything else in there, one quick hint: when you add additional terms in, say if you say, I'm going to pay your property taxes, the overdue property taxes, you have to specify what years you're paying, because maybe they didn't pay the last 5 years of property taxes. You thought you were in it for like 500 and it wind up being like 5,000. So if you're going to do that, specify in there, specify. I'll pay the back taxes for 2023 for this property tax. If you say I'll pay all back property taxes, who knows? And if you didn't do your homework, it could be a problem. Now, when it comes down to the bottom, this is a big stickler of mine. If you wrote the contract in your name, you got to sign it with your name. If you wrote the contract in your LLC name or a corporation or whatever it is, some of you do trust, don't do that. You have to sign on behalf. Richard Ginn signing on behalf of Home Buyers LLC. Remember, if you sign your name personally and there's no clarification on the bottom, you have personally signed that contract and you could be on the hook if anything goes south on that contract. So if you got an LLC and you did that extra layer of protection, then make sure it's Richard Ginn, president or on behalf of Home Buyers LLC. And then what you do is you just put it right below there. It's really that simple. So let me back out of this. I know there's a lot of screen there. So if you have any questions on the contract, you can put them in there. Okay, I see it. I'm going to get to that one. So let's jump on the assignment. Let's see here. And let me pull it up. Okay. Let's answer any questions on the contract and we will go with it. So everybody can see the screen. I had a couple technical difficulties, but we got it all figured out. And questions on the contract. So the next one we're going to do is just the assignment of contract. So I'm sorry, my screen timed out on me. Don't ask me why, because when I'm in there working, I can't track both screens. So Jay says, what do I do with a probate that has multiple properties in the will? Well, the reality is each property has to have its own separate contract, and then each contract has to be presented to the court. So if there was 5 properties and you want to buy all 5, you have to do 5 separate contracts. There's no way around it. Like, don't try to cheat that on any of it. So let's see here. Let me pull in. Okay. Got that one. And then now I've got to. Okay. So soon as you get your contract signed, you have to send it over to your title company. Why? A lot of you guys go, well, I want to wait to send over the title. The reality is you don't, because you need to find any problems sooner than later. If you wait too long, it's too late, because sometimes things need time to get fixed. Emails have to be sent, certified mail has to be done. So as soon as you get this contract that we've talked about, you got to send it over your title company right away. A lot of you go, oh, Rick, I'm holding off to see if I can find a cash buyer. No, absolutely not. You have to move it right away, and you have to get that done. So I got to pull up my assignment of contract. I don't have it on there. So the reason why is one says, what if I don't find a buyer in 30 to 90 days? You get out of the contract. But the reality is you want to write the right price up front when you write the contract. So let's jump on and do the assignment of contract. So I got it up here. So guys, these contracts, if you go over to freewholesaling.com, you can easily download these and get them going. So let's run through the assignment of contract. I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully you guys can see it. And so the first thing is the assigner. That's you. You're the assigner. You can easily mix this up, and your assignee is going to be your new cash buyer. Now, when you go through this, the same thing on the legal description, just put the parcel ID number. Sometimes people just put the address, but I like to put the parcel ID number, or if it's a very small legal description in the property appraiser site, you can cut and paste it. Or if you want more detail, go over to the official property records for your county and you can get it there. Now, I'm going to show you the parts that you absolutely have to fill. Now, keep in mind, at this point, you already have a locked-in contract. Now, I want to sign that contract. So basically, what this form does is replaces you with the new cash buyer. That's all it does, guys. You've got to understand that. So what we want to do is run through. And so on number 2, assigner accepts all terms and conditions to this contract. Yes, you have to attach your contract for an assignment of contract. Now, I do not show my contract until I have a cash buyer either at my title company or they meet me at my office and they're ready to give me a check or wire money over. I don't share information until you're ready to play. You guys can't be giving out your contract to everyone because people can manipulate you on that. I'm going to show you why in this. So once they do that, you actually have to attach your contract to the back of your assignment of contract. When do I do that? When they got their money in hand. And by now they should know, okay, listen, you got to close within 30 days, whatever, and go from there. So on number 3, assigner will deliver assigner cashier's check, money wire transfer in the amount of blank as the initial deposit on the transaction. I'm here to tell you guys are going to laugh. I always ask for $5,000 or more. Rick, that's a lot of money. You're right. But if you're buying a $100,000 property, $5,000 should be nothing. People go, once they start dancing and try to manipulate this, I want you to understand what the heck's going on. When they try to dance and work around this, it means they're not a good cash buyer. Most likely, there's another wholesaler trying to daisy chain on you, and you don't want that. So you have to understand, ask for a big deposit. I don't care what it is. Why? Because it will guarantee they're a real cash buyer, and you'll guarantee they'll actually fund and close on the deal. Because guess what? If they don't close, they don't get their $5,000 back. Now, moving on. The assigner will pay the assigner a total assignment fee. And this is where you guys freak out, and I don't understand why. Just put it in there. They're going to find out anyways. If it's $10,000, it's $10,000. It's no big deal. At this point, it should be a zero issue. So once I do that, I'm going to go down there. And then once again, in line 5, I do the exact same thing. I'm just going to simplify this and put 10K. Why do I put it twice? Because I want them to understand how much they're paying me so they can't ever come back and cry wolf. Now, on the purchase price, let me do, this is just a math problem, guys. 100,000. Say so the contract we put under contract was for 100,000. You can decide to put the zeros or not. The assignment fee is 10 grand. And the deposit was what? It was 5 grand, right? Guys, nothing more than a math problem at this point. Remember, this is the mechanical part of wholesaling, and you still gotta know it. But like, don't get hung up on this stuff. And you can go back and watch this video outside of my technical difficulties. But basically, they have to come to the closing table with $105,000 plus the closing cost. Any questions on that? Put that in there. I'm here to tell you, this is how it works in here. Now, let's keep moving so we understand this. Once we have the math down there, we move on to the next part in here. And I cut the numbers off on this one, but it's okay. Is assignee must close the transaction on or before this date. And you're probably thinking, well, Rick, doesn't that coincide with the closing date? No. If I have a closing date, say on February 1st, I'm going to make sure this person closes at least a week before. Why? because I can. You can stipulate this in the assignment contract. I'm saying, listen, I have till the end of February, but you got to close it by February 22nd. Why? Because if they don't close, I want to know sooner or later in case I have to renegotiate, get an extension on the contract, or get another cash buyer. And there's going to be pain if they don't close. You have to make it very clear to them. Even though the contract stipulates we have X amount of days, you only have X amount of days to close, and that's what you agreed upon. If you don't do it, you're going to lose your $5,000. Okay? You want to make this before. And remember, I'm always pushing to close before. So if I have 60 days to close it, I'm going to try to get the guy, if the seller will allow us when they're ready, I'm going to get them to try to close it as early as possible. Why? I want to get paid. I want to move on, do more deals. So remember, the contract date you have on your original contract, make sure that your assignment contract is at least 1 week before, preferably 2 weeks. But sometimes the time just doesn't work out like that. And you've got to understand when you do that. Now, on the next one, see here, if the assignee attempts to communicate with the seller in any form, it will immediately terminate this agreement. And they will keep the deposit, they forfeit the deposit for liquidated damages. End of story. A signer must deliver clear title at closing. Once again, your seller has to deliver you clear title, and your new cash buyer expects to have clear title. So they always say, well, Rick, what happens if there's a title problem? Then they're not forced to close. That's the beauty of working with a title company. And that's why people are willing to work with wholesalers, because they want to get clear, marketable, and equitable title. And who does that? Not me, not you. It's the title company that does that. So now I want you to move on. And if you look down here, it says here, a signer may at any time close before and renegotiate the underlying contract price. Why do I put that in there? Because I learned the hard way. Sometimes we negotiate liens, private mortgages, code violations, stuff like that. And if I get a $5,000 discount and I work my butt off for it, I'm not giving it to my new buyer. I'm definitely not giving it to the seller. That is my profit. And I got burned multiple times with this. And so if you have the property under contract for $100 and you get a $10,000 discount, maybe you negotiated something, maybe the seller was panicking on it, and you just say, listen, I'll close earlier. You got to go down to this number, and say you get a $10,000 discount. That goes to you, the wholesaler. You know how powerful that is? It's absolutely amazing when you can do that. If you don't put this clause in there, any type of negotiations or reductions goes to your new cash buyer, not you. So this cost me $35,000 in a contract when I was young, and I learned my lesson. It happened multiple times, and I decided to work with a lawyer and fix it. And then the last one here, the property is sold as is. And the last line on here is people will sell. If they don't give you a deposit, guys, they don't wire the money, they don't give it to the title company, you do not have a deal. So here's what you do is I have them initial this one. If this deposit not received on or before. So if I'm talking to my cash buyer at noon, say I met them for a cup of coffee or something, and they're heading over to the title company, if they don't deposit that check, that wire by 5 p.m., I don't want to be obligated with this property, because I'm just going to go to my next cash buyer and move on. You've got to put some sort of void or null. The other way you can protect yourself is let the buyer sign, let your cash buyer sign first, and then you sign after you have verification of deposit from the title company. And once again, you want to sign, if you're doing this in an LLC or corporation, you want to sign on behalf of your LLC. And guys, you've got to use these contracts. They're simple, they're to the point. And if you want to get them, go over to freewholesaling.com. You can download any of them. So if you guys have any questions about contracts, listen, I know contracts aren't the most exciting thing, and that's why Zach stuck me with it. But the reality is you have to understand this. So if you're new to wholesaling, it's simple. A purchase and sale agreement is 2 pages. An assignment of contract is 2 pages. You do the PSA first, then you do the assignment of contract. And remember, you work with your title company with this. And this is how it works, guys. So if you have any questions about it, please post it on here. We are going to be back on tomorrow, and we're going to do the second part of doing 7 deals in 7 days. Guys, this is stuff that you would normally have to pay big bucks to sit in a room and figure out on how to do it. Me and Zach are here sharing all this information. And we want you to get the best benefit from it. And you have to understand, this is how real wholesaling, this is like, there is no secrets here, guys. I've always told you, if there's any types of secret in wholesaling, I've already revealed them, because I'm tired of people hiding behind this. Remember, I just showed you the paperwork. That does not, the paperwork is just the paperwork. After you have a verbal agreement with it and you have everything set, then you sit down and just go over that paperwork directly. And if you have an issue with the deposit, the closing date, the inspection, I want you to refer back to this video and figure out how to talk to your seller. Most importantly, practice it, because it does come up. Because we're all out in the real world. Me and him do wholesaling. I don't get perfect case scenarios. A lot of them I do, but some of them I have to negotiate. And I want you to be flexible and understand it's more important how you respond to a seller's question than what you actually do. Because if you deliver a calm, cool answer, their confidence level in you goes through the roof, and you've got to understand that. Because the other way is you go, I don't know, I've never seen this. And you lose confidence, and more importantly, your seller lose confidence. And then that's how you lose a great wholesale deal. So I want you to practice some of this stuff. Some of you guys get so hung up on the deposit and the closing date. It's really not that hard. Remember, when you're doing the contract, you're just down to the final terms. You've already nailed down price. So don't make the deposit issue. Don't make the other stuff an issue, and learn how to talk back to them when they have an objection about it. And once you understand how to overcome the objection, wholesaling becomes very easy. But most people won't teach it to you unless you write a big fat check to them. And me and Zach are here to solve that problem for you.
Yeah, exactly. So do you answer this question yet? This one. I'll just pop it up.
Okay. Let me see. I'm looking.
So Cadillac Colt says, Zach and Rick, I got a 3-property bundle. Do you open this one?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't open it yet.
Cadillac said, I have a 3-property bundle open for assignment in East Liverpool. That's probably on the border, right? East Liverpool. 2 separate apartment buildings, 1 8-unit, 1 4-unit, plus a single family. Interested in JV? Yeah, we're interested in JVing it. Possibly purchasing. I got to see the pro forma, see if it's a good deal or not. If you want to send me a JV deal, remember, you just got to go to sellmypaper.com. That's how you send it. Let me show you exactly how to do it.
Yeah, just share some details with us, how long you've had it under contract for, and the pertinent stuff. But like, we look at everything. Like, we're wide open.
Let's pop it up right here. So you just go to sellmypaper.com. Let's go here. There's the link. Here we go. Just go to sellmypaper.com, and it's literally just go to flip the Rick. It's JV with us. You click that. And basically, if you are in any of these markets, okay, East Liverpool, Ohio is going to be kind of that border by West Virginia, but it's in Ohio, so technically, any of these markets, we're going to go to JV with you guys in there. So send us your deals there. We'd love to do the deal with you there and help you out. But yeah, just sellmypaper.com. It's pretty simple. That's a great way to go out there and do it. But let's answer a couple more questions real quick too. I know we had some technical difficulties, but we should be all set there.
Now you got the fun part.
Oh yeah. So yeah, so let's talk about this and let's break it all down. Let's see what other questions we got.
And guys, when it comes to contract, print them out, download them from freewholesaling.com, and then just practice writing them on your own. Mm-hmm. And you'll naturally go, I wonder if the seller will say this. And then you can refer back to this video, and then you've got to practice your objections. When you guys get objections on like stupid things like outside of price, like deposit, closing dates, and you go like this, I don't know, I'll have to get back to you. You're dead in the water. These are the easy parts you have to get through. What Zach was teaching earlier, the marketing and stuff, that's the stuff you really got to like immerse yourself in. When it comes to contract, a lot of you guys skip this part. And I'm telling you, you can practice on real live wholesale deals and it's going to cost you a fortune, or you can practice in your house. Go find your sister, your mom, your brother, your dad, practice on them, because you're going to find out what you're made of. It's funny, until you do a live setting or put somebody on a role play, you never know how they're going to respond. You are no different watching this video. I want you to understand that. So
exactly. So let's kind of break down our homework for today for the 7 deals in 7 days challenge. So let's break down our homework and everything on here. So if we are going to go out here and become successful, this is day 1. Obviously, we're doing it tomorrow. Also, tonight, we are going to research your markets. We kind of had that pretty easy plan. Is it 100,000 plus population for the county? And is the median home price below 4 to 500,000. We're going to go to freewholesaling.com, freewholesaling.com, and go and download our contract. We're going to go there and download it and the assignment of contract. It's all in one thing. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And then we are going to network with 2 local wholesalers. That's right, 2 local wholesalers.
I got it.
We're going to network with 2 local wholesalers that are local to our market. That's why we go in the comments here. We go in the Facebook group. We can do all these things, and we can go actually out here and network to them. This is really important. We're going to go find them. Now, I would say 2 20-minute phone calls if you can tonight. That would be really good. I'm telling you, just some general networking, some accountability is going to be really good to you. And then also try to call at least 10 sellers today. That's right, 10 sellers. That is going to be your goal today. We're going to go over action plans and everything like that tomorrow. But you should have an action plan to call 10 sellers. Here's the truth. You're probably really scared to call 10 sellers. That's a little scary. That's the point. I want you to be scared, because once you're uncomfortable, you start growing. You start making more money. That is the point here, guys and gals. And so I'm telling you to get uncomfortable. Talk to 10 sellers. If the thought of talking to 10 motivated sellers freaks you out, makes you super scared, good. It really should. And that means you'll overcome that fear. And once you overcome that fear, you'll be able to make more money wholesaling houses, guys. This is what it's all about. It's insane to me, the amount of wholesalers that are so scared to talk to sellers. You're only scared because you just haven't done enough of it. You don't have enough experience. With that, your confidence will skyrocket and you'll make a ton of money in wholesaling real estate. So many wholesale. If you want to download the contracts, go to freewholesaling.com. It's all there. He did a full breakdown on that. And yeah, we appreciate it, guys. So make sure you go to freewholesaling.com. You break it all down. You go there and network. 2 people, get their phone numbers, network in here, right? We got Megan in Washington. So shout out to her. She's telling people she's in there. Hillary's in Maryland. So go network with the people. Rambo out here in Atlanta. Here's the problem. Rambo, you can't let, how am I going to know how to, do I go to rambo.com? Like, I don't know what's your phone number, what's your email. People don't know how to reach out to you.
You got to network, guys.
You got to network. Like Diane Russell. Yeah, I know she's in Plenty, Michigan. I've done deals there. I don't know how to say it. But I mean, that's in Wayne County. The problem is, Diane, do I find you on Facebook? Like, how do I, that's the problem I think we have on the internet, you know. Let people know what your email is, what your social media is. How do I actually how do I reach out to Dream Chaser? Dream Chaser in Alabama? Like, do I look up Dream? Is that the person's real name?
No,
Dream
I mean,
Chaser?
just more specifics, guys. It
Email,
will help you
phone
out.
number, and
And
we'll all break it down from there. So, guys, this is day 1 of the 7 deals in 7 days challenge. We'll be on tomorrow for hours and hours and hours of more wholesaling content. And we're going to break down kind of the locking up the deal side, really finding the comps, the values of the deals, the ARV side, dispositions, and all those things, so you can become the most successful wholesaler possible, guys. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe. Make sure you go out here to freewholesaling.com. If you got a deal, send it to sellmypaper.com, and I really appreciate it. Shout out to everyone on here. Shout out to the winners. I gave out 50,000 skip traces today in
That's
a year
cool.
of DMZach.com. And I'll do another giveaway tomorrow, so make sure you hop on here. And today is kind of more of the learning how to find these sellers, and tomorrow's going to be more of implementation. So it's going to be really excited. So guys, if you're enjoying this, use this as a challenge to springboard you to success. We'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate it. And yeah, have a blessed one. This is Zach Ginn signing out.
Rick Ginn signing out.
Have a blessed